What's going on, guys? Hey, how are you? That's the best I can muster right now. Repeat here, though, with you. It's a Saturday night, and it's going to be really, really long Auto Club. Got the NNR All-Star Race preliminary race. So we got gonna have between 10 and 15 cars on the track. They're gonna try to make it into the main, but we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Rick James here in the booth. Rick, smaller field. Some guys said they weren't gonna be able to make it, but nonetheless, these guys are running with high draft. Our buddy Knights is gonna give us a hand with these laps and all that. 32 laps are gonna be in the books when they're done with it. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready, Pete. All-Star night for NNR at the Auto Club Speedway with the high draft turned up. I feel like putting on a suit and tie. What a night for racing, and we're about to get the Open underway. 3 guys make it through into the 25-plus car field for tonight's main. Let's go.
Absolutely. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean, everybody talks about the quality of drivers or players or whatever you want to say here in NNR. And when you're talking about taking the 10 best from trucks, 10 best from Xfinity, and the 10 best from Cup and putting them all on the same track with normal draft. These guys right now for the Open, they're running high draft. So this is going to be a whole lot of pack racing at its finest unless somebody messes up. Already see Rock NASCAR out there, Q-Dog, J-Pa, Zach McCann, Bama Tram is out there. Bama, good to see you. J-Pa, thank you very much for the bit. Guys and gals, it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. We've all seen races at Auto Club before. But when you have the best of the best being placed up against the best, man, it's going to make for one hell of a show. It seems like everybody's top dogs are going to be in this race once we get this Open done.
Absolutely, Pete. It's going to be the best that NNR can muster across all of its divisions. So much talent is going to be on this racetrack. And we've seen the talented racing already with this week's Cup, Xfinity, and Truck races at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So now we're going to take it to Auto Club, the fastest a track can get, with the most aggressive a draft can be. I'm expecting the D word, desperation, to bloom in this Open. We're going to see drivers making desperate moves because they know that only 3 make it into the main.
Yeah, only 3. So again, there's going to be just about 15 cars out here, and only three can move on. So yeah, it's really going to be who can get it done. So Rick, Lucky Dog 385 is going to be out here in this field. Some people say, you know what, I'm just going to race for second, or I'm going to try to grab that P3 spot. But one thing that some people aren't going to take into consideration is that draft. It's going to play a huge factor tonight because nobody's really going to be able to escape. If you get a couple of guys that are able to draft well, hold their line, and move on back up to Lucky, I don't know which car number he's going to be in tonight, but you can bet your bottom dollar that people are going to want to try to stay as close to him as possible. No stages tonight, 32 laps, flat out, all for a chance to make it on through to the main, where you got a bigger field, as you said, between 25 and 30 cars, a big mix of the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series.
Pete, I'm so ready to get this underway. In this Open, we're going to showcase drivers like NNR Coey, JR Big Dogs, Drake, More Than a Cape, honestly, Own Cornet, Budrow, Papa Bear, and Knights. And there's just, with less than 30 seconds to go, I'm so curious to see how these opening laps are going to play out. Certainly, we're going to have drivers that are going to go just all the way to the wall, but a couple of guys that might be conservative in these first few laps.
They could very well be conservative, maybe try to save a little something right off the get-go. I believe that they're racing 2 times wear, 2 times fuel. I could be slightly off, but yeah, that's I'm pretty sure that's where we're at. Just got the invite from Coey, but just as he sent it, he went ahead and paused the room. So we'll have to kind of hold on that for a second. Rick James, thank you for the bits. Vols fan, we were actually just talking about you. Thank you for the bits as well. J-Pa, bit by bit, piece by piece, it all adds up. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and grab this this invite. As soon as, where'd it go? There. I hate this new menu, but come on, let's go. Oh, good Lord. There we go. Discord go down. One second, Rick. I'm getting there right now, bud. Something must be going on because the game's not even loading for me. All right, let's try a different invite because that one, something happened with that. Gotta love these hiccups, you know. Let's try this again. All right, now we're getting in. Let's grab Rick James. Mike check. All right, Rick, you got me now, sir.
You got it now, Pete.
All right, buddy. You should have just got your invite. Not quite sure what happened with all that. I was having issues even just getting into the race, but definitely appreciate everybody being patient. Here we are. So we're going to try to go through this field. Looks like it's going to be the 22 of Lucky Dog on the pole, 17 of JR Big Dogs to its outside. Knight starting P3, the 12 of NNR Drake, Own Cornet, and P5. Honestly, you're bad, NNR Coey, J Quims, Budrow, More Than a Cape. NNR Pop Bear, good to see him. Fort Smitty, NNR Trip. And we are back up front, getting ready to take this green. Lucky Dog, hard on the hammer, 17 to his outside, going into turn one already, Rick. Here we go. Rick, you are muted. There you go.
On the second corner, you see that 22 of Lucky Dog leading that number 17 Chevrolet right behind him. That red car indicating he's a part of the Xfinity Series. Pete, the blue cars indicating the cars are part of the Truck Series, and the white for the Cup Series. 22, 17, 2 top three on the inside line.
Yeah, everybody down low. Now you got that one blue. I'm trying to get back there right now. That's going to be the 16 all the way down low. And there is a whole slew of different colors, different numbers. Rick, it's going to be interesting here with only 13. But wait till we get to Maine where we've got about, 30 cars, and we've got to decipher that. All those familiar numbers that we race week in and week out are not a thing tonight. Everybody's in a little bit of an unfamiliar territory, but everybody knows how to get around Auto Club.
So far, Lucky Dog getting around the best through Auto Club in that white number 22 Chevrolet. JR Big Dogs in the 17 right behind him, repping the Xfinity Series, and he's hanging on tight. No stages in this open, Pete, so it's all you've got, and there's no redemption if there's a mistake. Knight in the 18 sitting in the 4th position. Drake further behind. Own Cornet from the Truck Series holding his own in car number 16.
Yep, Owen Cornet, the car number 16 sitting a P5. Top 5 right now, all in a single file. Following, no surprise here, old Lucky Dog. Everybody knows he's bad fast. He can hold a pretty wheel. We'll have to see if they stick with him. But right now, top 3 are pretty happy where they've got. They've got the rest of the field in their rear view. Vols fan, absolutely, sir. If you want to jump in after this or in the later stages or for the main or whatever, buddy, you're absolutely welcome. Rick James and I were actually just talking about you before we went green. Be good to talk to you, man.
Across the line, the leaders have just 34 laps remaining in this open. Top three from each division make it, Pete. So right now it's going to be Own Cornet, JR Big Dogs, and Lucky Dog 385 into the main. One white, one red, one blue car makes it into this open. NNR Drake just in front of Own Cornet. Honestly, you're bad. The second of those white cars, that number 31 Chevrolet with the Hooters sponsorship, sitting third in line, Pete. He's got everything to play for and nothing to lose. Either he beats Lucky Dog or he goes home.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out here that want to beat Lucky Dog, say that they've been able to beat the best. I tell you what, if this 3 and 17 can do exactly as they were doing going into the corner right there, stay tucked up under each other, they can absolutely get up to maybe the side of Lucky Dog, maybe try to side draft him, pull him back just a little bit. But right now, Lucky Dog's got all kinds of clean air on the hood of that Camaro, and nobody's been able to do anything with him as of yet. But as second and third battle it out, all that's doing, Rick, is pulling the rest of the field up to him.
100%. Lucky Dog 385 now breaking out to a lead with the 17 of JR Big Dogs comfortably in the second position. But then he's got that 31 behind him, and they're starting to stack up, as you mentioned. White Chevrolets, and look at that, a full couple of Fords in there as well. That number 18 Mustang being driven by Knights right at the back of this lead pack.
Yeah, Knights again helping us out tonight with laps and fuel and all that. Will be interesting to see how many laps of fuel they get after their first pit stop. And Rick, it looks like we just had a battle for the lead. JR Big Dog, who is no slouch whatsoever. He came into the NNR Xfinity Series and right off the bat scored two W's. He missed last week, so he wasn't able to go 3 for 3. But there he just was, rather, putting a little bit of pressure on old Lucky for the lead.
31 laps to go in this open. The 17 of JR Big Dogs now to the inside of car number 31 with the 16 of Own Cornet behind him. Each of these cars, Lucky Dog, Big Dogs, Own Cornet, in the transfer positions from this open. But as they're starting to stack up behind third place, Pete, drivers will draft with each other using this high draft tonight to the best of their abilities.
They will definitely use it to draft to the best of their abilities and advance their position. 31 of Honestly You're Bad, he actually just got freight train kind of sort of on that outside line. The 28-16 make a little bit of contact. 16 gets a little squirrely, able to hold on to it. Everybody's still right now all behind Lucky Dog. 17-31 applying the most pressure. But Rick, there's some guys all the way in the back, but there's a pretty healthy line of cars all along that backstretch wall, just waiting to see who's going to make a mistake coming into pit road as soon as that first chance is needed. And what do they do? I mean, how much of a change are they going to be able to make? We saw some people starting out pretty high on the preset slider, and we heard some people starting off as low as 3, and we're just going to tune it from there. We know how deadly that apron can be in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in the Cup cars, but can you use it here in Xfinity?
28 laps to go at the line, Pete. If they can use the apron, they very well should, but they're going to be scrubbing off an absurd amount of speed on the exit of the corners. With this high draft, the exit of your corner can matter much more than the entrance of the corner. So we'll see how these Xfinity cars handle this apron. You can see the drivers are eager to use it on the front stretch, but I think the driver who's going to be most brave and try those shallow waters below that white line could end up winning big. 17 to the inside for second place.
Yep, working my way back up there right now. There he is. There we go. Yeah, 17. So he's had an eye on Lucky for the entire first get-go. And Shadowlack's out there saying 20 laps on fuel, tires shouldn't be an issue. Well, we'll have to see. I would imagine that if they start off on a higher preset, they're going to burn through that right front. Maybe not necessarily the right rear so much, but I guess it also depends on how much wheel you gotta put into it. But Rick, so far, all these guys, they're being very, very respectful. I have to see just how much this, manner of respect goes out the window when it's crunch time, and if that fourth place has to ruffle a couple of feathers to make it into P3, or will the guy in second say, you know what, I want top spots? Well, man, it's going to be, there's a long way to go. We'll have to check it all out. Stay tuned. Boehner says top 3 advanced, correct? Yep, Boehner, that is, you got it, sir.
That red 17 of JR Big Dogs now being shuffled back to the 4th position. He was sitting in second, and again, the red color denoting that he races in the Xfinity Series. Now 4th in line, and look at this mess of white cars behind him. Contact out of turn number 2, and Lucky Dog is no longer alone at the front of this race. It's honestly your bad in that 31 car, now challenging for the lead off of 4.
I tell you, normally when we start talking about honestly you're bad, I say something else when I'd say, he's starting to honestly look pretty good. And every time I say that, I think it's like a jinx for the guy, so I'm not going to go there. But right now, honestly, is doing a pretty good job sitting right here in P2 behind one of, if not the best, or arguably the best in the game. Vols fan, thank you very much for those 1,000 bits, sir. Absolutely appreciate you, buddy. Definitely looking forward to talking to you in the booth here in just a little while. But, man, you get back to your barracks or wherever you got to get to safely. We'll be here when that happens. But, Rick, so far, 22 has led every single lap. He's had the occasional, challenge, but nobody's really had anything for this 22.
As is the normal, Pete, this 22 of Lucky Dog just has, it's cliche to say, but another gear that he can reach out to and just pull away from this competition. So I'm impressed that honestly is hanging tough in that second spot right now. JR Big Dog's back in the 3rd position, and then it looks like the 12 of Knights is 4th. Coey is 5th in that number 15.
Yeah, so you got, what is this? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cup cars surrounded by one Xfinity. The closest truck driver right now is sitting at about P7, if I'm not mistaken, indicated by that bright blue car just a little bit further in the back, but doing pretty good to stay right with the rest of his pack. That's going to be the 16 of Owen Cornett.
One driver who's making his case is the 17 of JR Big Dogs, Pete. Normally you would expect to see this many white cup drivers, the white cars of the cup drivers, up through this field. But here you have this red driver here, that red car of JR Big Dogs, who's now hanging tough, holding his own with these cup guys. As the laps wind down and pit stops get a little bit closer, look at the contact, Pete. 3 wide out of 4 now. You can see they're starting to get dicey, but hats off to JR Big Dogs in that red Camaro. He's really proving that he has what it takes to be a cup driver.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there between Knights in that 12, the 17 of JR, and the 28 all the way on the bottom. Knights did not want to give up that line, but 17 was just able to get back to the throttle a little bit sooner. Rick, are we getting to the point here where we're going to have to start talking about people getting loose coming off of these corners? Starting to see some people's car, or a few cars rather, starting to point the wrong direction as they're coming off the corner. That might be, the right rear wearing down a little bit, fuel burning off, cars are getting a little bit lighter. We'll have to see. Keeping up right now with Big Dogs, the 2 he's got in front of him and the 4 that he's got right behind him.
100%, and Big Dog sitting in that 17 right now. You saw the 31 wiggle out of turn number 4, and drivers will need to be coming down pit road within the next 3 laps, whether they like it or not, Pete. The fuel will only last so long, and the tires just a lap after that. So expect to see green flag pit stops, Pete, and I would hope each of these drivers plays the pit road speeding game more conservative than not. With no stages, a pit road speeding penalty will effectively end your race completely.
Absolutely. And you're talking about they know what kind of competition they've got out here on the track. Usually when they all go on down pit road, because of the varied times on pit road, varied changes that you make, things like that, it usually separates the field just a little bit. So we'll have to see who's not only going to be able to have a great pit stop and come on out, get going through the gears and doing everything as quickly as they possibly can, but they've also got to think about their competition and how aggressive they're going to go ahead and get on pit road, and start to see three of the top six rather, make their way down pit road. Lucky Dog still leading, 17 right behind, and I want to say the third place car is going to be the 28 of Jay Quims.
Indeed it is, Pete. The 22 of Lucky Dog still leading, and he's got JR Big Dogs right behind him. These two starting to pull away. Jay Quims sitting in that third spot now, while many of the leaders come down pit road. With 19 laps now left in this race, they're going to have just over 19 to 20 laps of fuel remaining in these race cars. So this is the perfect time to pit, but they might have to conserve the tires to make sure they have what it takes at the end. So far, Pete, everyone's made it through, and there's no speeding penalties yet.
Yeah, so far, but I tell you what, I didn't see old Lucky Dog come on and drop down underneath the line, indicating that he's pitting. He actually stayed up. He didn't have a car to his inside or anything like that. Not to be a stickler, for the rules, but we'll have to see if Coey goes back and checks that out, or if that's even a thing. I could be, talking about it and it not even be an issue, but everybody else did signal that they were coming on down pit road by dipping below the white line down that backstretch. Lucky Dog, not so much.
Lucky Dog still down pit road now. He's down and away. The competition now coming out of turn number 4 through this trioval. Lucky Dog ahead of that 17 of JR Big Dogs, but will they retain this lead? In first, and they won't be out first. Here comes Honestly You're Bad in the 31 to the outside. Knights behind him in car number 12. Lucky Dog leaving pit road in the third position with 17 laps to go this time by.
Definitely appreciate all the cheers and bits and keeping us company right now. Just about 30 of y'all out there hanging out with us, and yeah, keeping us busy, enjoying the race. We're enjoying it too. It's really gonna be interesting to see who's gonna be able to put the full package together. Couple people that came down an extra lap early, are they gonna be able to keep it going when their tires wear off? Or Rick, is there a time during this 20-lap run where they've got enough fuel to where the tires kind of even out and the late run is not an issue anymore? You're just really hanging on and doing everything you can to race the track and race your competition.
Pete, the tire wear has to even out because these drivers will be stressing the right front heavily, especially depending on that racing line. It's going to be up to drivers like Lucky Dog 385 who are using their resources to get to the front to make sure they have enough to go the distance. Now coming on to the 23rd of 38 laps of competition, the 12 car of Knights to the inside of Lucky Dog, while the leader is the 31 of Honestly You're Bad.
Yeah, these guys got about just about 16 laps of fuel left in the tank, so they come out with about 20 from what Shadowlack said, and tires not really an issue, so he was 100% right about that. Everybody's going to have to pit. Man, it's going to be wicked close. I don't know if they're going to be able to go the distance. If they do, they might be sputtering coming to the line. But here you got the 18 and the 16 all over each other, nose to tail, trying to gain as much time as they can. Knights up front, 16 right behind them. But they've got a whole lot of driving to do to try to catch back up to the leaders.
14 laps to go next time they cross the line. The 22 of Lucky Dog leads and puts himself in the only Cup transfer position. The Xfinity transfer position goes to JR Big Dogs, the red number 17 in fourth, now challenging for third. And the truck transfer goes to Owen Cornett in the 16, here to the inside of Knights in this number 18 car. So now across the line, 25 laps into this race, there's 14 remaining, Pete, and only a caution can save Knights now. But at the front, it seems like Lucky Dog is using everything to pull away from the field. That's going to have adverse effects come the final few laps.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a gap back to second place, but those three back there, they should be able to somewhat get nose to tail and be able to catch Lucky Dog. Lucky's, again, he's got all kinds of clean air on the hood of that Camaro. Normally we're talking about him being in the Geico 13, but in this exhibition race or in this open race, I think it's got some Shriners colors on the hood of that thing with the, like you said, the Hooters right behind him. Panda Girl, good to see you out there. It's definitely been a little bit. Good to see you again. But Rick, all nose to tail going down the backstretch.
Nose to tail in the laps count down. Lucky number 13 laps to go for Lucky Dog 385, who leads in car number 22. In the third position is NNR Drake in car number 12, and then right behind the leader Lucky Dog is Honestly You're Bad 79 in this similarly colored number 31 car. They've stolen the show so far, Pete, and if it were a regular race, you could say that they have had fantastic runs, but only one of these white and black cars makes it through to the main. Less than a dozen laps remaining, 11 to go at the line, and these guys need to work hard to get back to the front.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to have to work hard, and they're really going to have to rely on each other to hold their line, try to keep that pedal matted as much as possible if they want any chance at catching. And then of course the other thing is passing Lucky.
As the adage goes, one thing to catch him, another thing to pass him. 10 laps to go next time they cross the line. Two Chevrolets nose to tail at the front of this race, and now the 17 of JR Big Dogs looking to make it 3 Chevys in the top 3 to close out the final 20 miles in Fontana. 22, 31 into turn number 3, and the 31 has closed the gap now, Pete. Possibly Lucky has been baiting him into using his tires, where Lucky has used too much of his own to get to the lead. 20 miles left in the open.
Yeah, coming back on down here, riding along right now with that 17 of JR Big Dogs. Again, the man made a huge splash since joining NNR. He normally races on Saturday nights, would turn down for which is Papa Bear's League, and he had like 7 or 8 wins over in that series. And I kind of threw out a little bit of a challenge, which he took me up on and said, hey man, you're good here. Why don't you come on over and give NNR a try? Well, as you can see, he can be up here and run among the best. And we'll have to see if that 17's got what it takes in the tank and in the tires to make it just one more position up to be able to move on.
Laps continue to take down. That 31 stays close to him. The 17 is good where he needs to be, as is the, I believe, the blue car of Own Cornet. That's car number 16, now crossing this line with 9 laps, remaining.
Here comes a little bit of an attempt by the 17, not able to get underneath the 12. Going to basically just stay tucked in right behind the back end of this Ford Mustang. Looks like the 12 kind of checked up just a little bit more than JR Big Dogs. So I have to see if JR is able to take that run and pull on down. Nope, he's going to opt just to stay all over the back bumper of this Ford, all the way down the front stretch, trying to get into 1 and 2, trying to look underneath the 12. Nothing there. Staying put for now.
22-31 out of turn number 2, and the gap is increasing to 3rd and 4th respectively. NNR Coe in the 15th by his lonesome out of turn number 2. 7 laps to go at the line. JR Big Dogs holding tough in car number 17. Only a caution can save most of these drivers now, but that's what everybody is holding their breath for, Pete. The 22 of Lucky Dog crosses the line. It's less than 10 remaining. Does anybody have anything for this 22?
We're really... I still think there's going to be something going on with the fuel here. 17 to 12, just a little bit of a shot. JR Big Dogs trying to push that 12 of Drake up just a little bit. Hopefully that didn't buckle the front end of that 17 at all, and they're going to be able to continue pushing and get things going. Here comes that 17 now, looking underneath the 12. It's a little bit of a slide job here. Will the 12 be able to get back in the throttle before the 17? 17's going to stay up, not come down, and pinch off that run. Here they are side by side coming to the line. The 12 should have the momentum, but the 17's got that high side. Let's see what he does with it.
17 of JR Big Dog's on the outside. He's got the speed on the outside line, but he won't have the momentum. The 12 has the shorter route, and he comes up the racetrack to block the 17. Now nose to tail, and you can just see how close they are, literally bump drafting down the backstretch. Now NNR Drake ahead of the 17 of Big Dogs into turn number 3. Big Dogs looks to the inside of the 12, almost down to the white line. 12 drifts up high, 17 down low, creeps up now to the inside line out of turn number 4, side by side. 17 edges by an inch, and now the 17 clears down the front straight with less than 6 to go. What a move out of 4.
Absolutely, that's what my buddy HD Motorsports would call a power move by the 17 of JR Big Dogs. So just a lap ago, they were in opposite positions. Now the 12, he's back down again. Looks like the 17 was not able to keep the car down. Washed up just a little bit, but he's got a little bit of speed on that outside. 12 and the 17, little bit of fender banging going on. 17's now got the position, tried to seal off that hole. 12 had to give it up, otherwise they were going to end up wrecking. Still a phenomenal job between these two to grab that final transfer spot.
17 just ahead of that 12. Now the 12 car to the outside. He crosses the line. He's not anywhere near that 17 in terms of speed, but he's going to have the momentum coming out of turn number 2. Lucky Dog still leads by a good margin over the 31 of Honestly You're Bad. NNR Drake in that 12 car for the final transfer position behind that 17, now getting a tow into turn number 3. 3 laps to go at the line.
Yeah, 3 to go at the line. 17 down low. Looks like he's able to get a little bit of distance to the 12 of NNR Drake, formerly known as Exclusively Elite. Well, right now he's trying to join that elite company to make it through to the final. JR Big Dogs has it. Drake wants it. There's no doubt in my mind, unless Lucky or P2 have any kind of an issue, that the biggest battle will be right here.
Biggest battle so far and the most entertaining. It's going to be 4 miles remaining next time they cross the line. 17 ahead of the 12. 12 has another tow down the back. 17 throws the block to the inside. 12 looks to the outside. Nose to tail, side by side through the corners, and they couldn't get any closer. 12 car going to mount a charge at a turn number 4 down to the inside, looking to get, there's the apron, Pete, looking to get to the inside, and you called it. There's the 12 with contact out of 4. 2 to go at the line, and Big Dogs holding on for dear life.
JR Big Dogs completely sealed that. A little bit of contact between fenders coming all the way through the corner and off, but 17 able to just seal it and take that, take sole possession of that spot. So good job by JR Big Dogs. He's gonna. Oh, does 17 have to pit? I don't know if he's got a pit or if he's just kind of trying to break the draft. We'll have to see if he's got to come on down this time. If so, it's going to be interesting. Has the 12 just been saving a little bit? Nope. That looks like 17 is going to stay out. And now the 17 has the draft from P2. Will this help him, or will the 12 try to take that for himself? Come in side. Whoa, 12's almost up into the outside wall. Rick, take us home, buddy.
In the final 2 miles of this open, there's NNR Drake to the inside of the 12 car, makes the move to the 17. The 17 will look for the crossover out of turn number 2. There's the 31 of Honestly You're Bad, who's lost the plot. Lucky Dog will win the stage, but the final transfer position is being contested now. Less than 1 mile in the racetrack. 12 now to the inside. He cuts off the 17 out of 4. 17 will get one more charge out of the final corner. 31 will beat the 12. 17 to the inside, down the front straight. He won't have enough into the line. Lucky Dog, Honestly You're Bad, NNR Drake, your top 3 in the 2020 All-Star Open.
Not too shabby. Pretty good run for all 3. Now, guys, a little bit of a break from the norm. We're not actually going to have top 3. Coey's going to go ahead and get this, or Stout, or whoever's going to go ahead and get this all going again. And we are going to see those 3 join your top 10 from the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series. We're in for one hell of a show. Definitely want to make sure you keep it right here. And there's a little something extra as well. I got a message from the one and only J-Pod, driver of the Double Deuce in the Cup Series, and he's thrown a $15 Xbox code out there for anybody that can correctly choose the top 3 before the end of Stage 1. If you were around all last all last season, he incrementally added $5, and Boehner got in on it, and a few others as well. So if you can correctly choose the top 3 before the end of stage number 1 in the All-Star race, there's a $15 Xbox code for you. Definitely thank everybody that's out there for your chat, your bits, keeping us company. Rick James, there's a lot of people out here right now with a lot of anticipation from what they just saw versus what they're going to see. Boehner said, he can't wait to strap on that helmet. Yotes King's out here. Vols is here now. Should actually see Vols in just a little bit up in the booth. Aviator's out there. Panda Girl's out there. Mentioned J-Pop, Bama Trama, Unforgotten Shadow. I mean, there's a good host of people that are anticipating a great race for what we're about to see. Ladies and gents, while they go ahead and get that set, we are going to take a quick break, but we will be right back. As the line from Back to the Future, don't nobody go nowhere. Be right back. All right, well, definitely appreciate everybody for continuing to hang out. It's going to be just a little bit. They are actually getting ready to qualify, getting everybody in the lobby and getting things sorted out. It shouldn't be too long. But, Rick James, you involved anytime that y'all stream and where I can't be there, whether I'm sick or when I was away with the missus for our anniversary, y'all always talk about NNRleague.com and the fastest coffee mugs in the business and all that. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick 60 seconds to let everybody know how they can follow NNR first off, and then right after that, we're going to show you NNRleague.com, and we're going to kind of get into this track and get ready for these guys to qualify and get going. Maybe we can even score an invite to go on out and watch. So without further ado, first off, y'all want to know how to follow NNR. Here you go.
Hey NNR fans, don't miss any of the action by following or subscribing to Repeat's Twitch channel. Turn on notifications and you'll always know when the best preset league on Xbox hits the track. Check out his YouTube channel too to see all of NNR's past races. Follow No Name Racing as well as Repeat 1975 and others on Twitter, and you'll never miss any of the action.
All right, so yeah, go on up, smash that follow, hit the subscribe if you can. Also, don't forget, if you've got Amazon Prime and you obviously have a Twitch channel, you merge the two together. You get what's called Amazon Prime, and through that you get all kinds of free game content. You get Amazon TV, plus you also get a channel to subscribe to. One free channel per month, whether you use it here or whether you use it on another stream like Rick James or like Vols out there in chat. Trust me, it is absolutely appreciated. Y'all make what we do go round. So the tracks are round, the road courses, maybe not so much, but we definitely appreciate every single one of you. And so does NNRleague.com. We talk about the polos, the hoodies, the golf balls, the sweatshirts, the mugs, everything. Here we go, NNRleague.com, down to the Zazzle tab. Take a look around. All right, so there you go. One more time, NNRleague.com, over to the Zazzle tab. There are all kinds of merchandise there. And as my buddy NNR Mountain or Mountaineers 13, whatever he goes by, it'd be good to see you at the track repping your NNR red. I know normally I've got a Martin Truex shirt on or something like that, or Chase Elliott or whatever, but it's definitely very, very much appreciated. Coe puts a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money and everything into this community, and he does a great job. So, Rick James, these guys are just about ready to fall into qualifying. Again, we got just about 30 cars that are going to take time and then come on out, see who's going to grab the pole, see who's going to be able to hold on like, second and third did with Lucky Dog. And, but here, it's all about that top spot. There is no top three here. Everybody's got to go for broke.
Well, that's it, Pete. That's the magic of an all-star race, is that drivers have to maintain that thought in their head. There is no points. There is no good points day. There is no, we've run good. You come here to win. It's the all-star race. So as you said, they will go for broke and give absolutely everything and the kitchen sink out on the track today.
Yeah, absolutely. Rock, you don't have to ask twice, buddy. I definitely appreciate everything that you do. Let's see if I can. There we go. Rock, you may have to back on out and then come back in, but thank you very much for offering to be a mod. So you kind of keep an eye on the chat, keep the unscrupulous people out, and keep everybody that wants to be here for a good time in. There aren't many others that I trust besides you for that service. So thank you very much, Rock. Let's see. SD61 Nina says, if Jordan race team with Bubba Wallace on NASCAR 6, I'm buying it. Well, Nina, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. All right, if that's not going to sell me the game, and it's probably not going to sell the game to a lot of people. There are so many issues with Heat 5. I know that the next rendition is not going to be called Heat. It's going to be It's going to be called something else. While I'm a big fan of that Air Force 43, that old Warthog machine, yeah, I lost a lot of interest in what Heat 5 has and what they haven't done for us so far this year. But it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with. If they stick with the same Unity engine, Rick James, I don't think it's going to do very well. But new console, new platform. There's talks about EA Sports being somewhere in the mix. Buddy, I really haven't had my my ear to the ground so much on all that. What are you thinking?
Pete, it's a very complex issue. One of our great friends, Atlanta Racing, has been butting heads with the developers of this game for quite some time. And it's no secret that this community not only deserves more for this game, but they expect more for this game. Obviously, the nostalgia plays in, and we think back to games like NASCAR Thunder 2003, NASCAR 06, NASCAR 14. And each one of those games holds a special place, depending on what generation you grew up with. But now everybody's rallying around Heat 5, and we expected so much more from this game. And honestly, Pete, had someone come out and told me that Heat 5 would be a copy and paste of NASCAR Heat 4, it would be possible to accept the reliability that this community has come to experience since pre-ordering the game in summer of 2020. But I think I can speak for everybody when they say that the players that play this game religiously, if I may, are more than disappointed and insulted by the reliability of the servers and the promises kept between Heat 4 and Heat 5. Obviously, we're here. We're still playing Heat 5, and a majority of this community plays Heat 5. But come 2021, when the new NASCAR game drops, I expect it to be a make or break year.
It really will. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I'm trying to be civil and less than frustrated. But I'm sure a lot of the fans at home can hear the frustration between you, myself, Atlanta, Vols, a lot of the big broadcasting community, because Pete, you and I could say experience this game more than anybody in more ways than one. We race on occasion. We broadcast 3 to 4 nights a week. We are heavily involved in every visual aspect of this game. So you and I in particular, we do NNR 3 nights a week, and we can speak to the server bump. That it has a name, Pete. The fact that we have a name and an expectation for these servers to go down nightly at 10 p.m. should say everything about the reliability of this game, Pete. Before I get too emotional about it, it's been frustrating, disappointing, and insulting as a NASCAR fan to have spent the amount of money that I personally did, and not just myself. Let's think about the tens of thousands of fans that have spent their own hard-earned money for what has been less than acceptable for a game on this generation of console. Next year must be acceptable, or it will be an outright failure.
I couldn't agree more. And whether you're PC about it like you, or just outright and not so much like you just mentioned, our buddy Atlanta, there's so many different ways that you can talk around something before the phrase, you can polish a turd, it's still a turd, to quote old Jeff Dunham. But they've absolutely gotta do better than what they've done. When they went from Heat 3 to Heat 4, they fixed the physics. You could touch or bang or whatever slightly, and you didn't have any problems. You weren't, rubber banding. You weren't, being sent directly up into the wall if somebody just slightly rubbed the fender. Heat 4 was actually pretty good. There were no real issues. They went through the whole Pro League. They did everything. It seemed to press on just fine. And then, like you said, copy and paste Heat 5, just some new DLC, occasionally introduce a new track like the Indy Road Course and whatnot. But that's, you can't shine. You kind of know where I'm going with that. But definitely, man, if they don't move away from the Unity engine, it's going to be a big flop. Again, Unity engine is, Rick, I said this the other day, most of your games on your cell phone use the Unity engine. So, I mean, yeah, there you can kind of take that for what it is. But definitely want to thank everybody that's out there. Expert Racing giving a sub to unknown user Aiden Fought. Thank you very much for the follow. Experts of Racing, he's subscribed for a month. Definitely appreciate that. JPA has been a bit library. Of course, Vol's out there keeping it interesting. He's talking about giving away a sub to somebody that could pick the top 3. And he actually just sent me a message saying he's going to match that gift card that JPA mentioned. Again, if you're just now joining, if you can correctly identify or choose the correct top 3 before the end of stage 1, well, there's $30 in gift cards in it for you. Thank you very much to Vols and JPA and Vols again for the extra sub. So it's going to be a great stream. You guys are in for one hell of a race. The Open was a lot of fun. Second and third were really third and fourth were really battling it out, Rick, to try to make that last transfer spot. This one, there's no transfer spots. It stages on full bore the entire way.
All the way to the wall, Pete, and how else would you have it for an all-star race? We're about 28 minutes away from that 10 p.m. server bump, so hopefully we can get a majority of this race underway before we have to hope that the servers don't do us any favors here. But it looks like a couple of our streamers are loading in, and we could be ready to go very shortly.
Yeah, I think what they're getting into right now is qualifying. I just saw their connection test, so we should be seeing these guys come on out on track and try to put down their best lap. Again, big thank you to Cowboy Matt, TGM Beast, and I think there might be one or two others for their assistance in helping us with laps and all that. Boehner was another one. So big thank you to all three of them for allowing us to keep up with laps and fuel and anything that may or may not happen. There was a lot that happened in the Open. There was a question about fuel, question about tires, question about position. Coey's going to get these guys qualified, and then he's going to kind of hang out. That way he doesn't hand the race over to somebody that may not have the best internet connection. He's just going to kind of stick around. Coey's got about the same internet connection as I do, right around 400 down and like 20 or 30 up. So he should be able to easily control the strength of the connection to this lobby. But Rick, yeah, that bump is the big what if.
Big what if indeed, Pete. Before then, it's almost like a dark cloud that you see in the horizon, isn't it? Sunday morning, you go to the racetrack and you see just that moody bit of gray hanging just miles away, waiting to rain on your race day parade. But 9:34 now Eastern time, and I can't help but keep one eye on the clock waiting for this bump. However, it's All-Star night, and we've got bigger things to focus on. Right now, the cars are going to go through qualifying. They're going to turn some fast laps, and I think we'll be able to predict who's going to be quick in this main event.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're not going to be able to look past, excuse me, sorry about that. We're Obviously, Lucky Dog was very, very fast. He grabbed the pole in race number in the Open and was able to move on. But he's joined by CGMX Rose. He's joined by JPA. He's joined by the Aviator. He's joined by a More Smoke. It's not going to be, I don't want to say as easy, but he's definitely gonna have more stiff competition here in the actual All-Star race. And now they're running, I believe, on normal draft where they were running on high. So we'll have to see if we see more separation in this one, Rick, or if we actually see that pack stick just a little bit closer together because the talent pool is just that much deeper.
That much deeper, Pete, and that much more focused on winning this race. I've never seen NNR have an all-star race as stacked as this field. So we're going to see exactly who's where at the end of qualifying. But you mentioned, Pete, they have to go for broke tonight. So despite whatever qualifying performance they put in, expect these first few laps to be very cagey.
Absolutely. Vols, man, I tell you what, thanks again for even more bits. Another 50 right there. Experts of Racing cheered 300 bits. Man, thank you very much. Rick James throwing his name in the hat, buddy. Thank you very much as well. And you know what? I don't know if I said it when you first popped into Discord or not, but man, thanks for coming along on this trip with me tonight.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. I love all-star races. I just love racing in general. Who doesn't? But let's it's a great night for celebration as well, because it's not very often that we get to not focus on the points, that we get to focus on just the drivers as well. So the drivers have a special job tonight, and we've got a special job as well. The fact that we get to just commentate on so many fun activities throughout the year, but those all-star races, those special one-off events, those are the ones that you circle in the calendar and you go, this is a good day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a phenomenal day. You know, of course, there's out there in chat, you know, JPA saying, "Let's go, JPA Militia." Q Dog, Cole 315 Beast, Master Killer, Dan the Lawn Man, wishing Jay Quims would have been able to advance, but just not able to get up there. And then, of course, Commando Griff, also part of that hashtag, rooting on the JPOP Militia members tonight. Bummed I was out of town and couldn't make it myself, but excited to catch the action. Commando Griff, man, thank you very much. You had a great ride in that 13 the other night, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you back on track when we get back from Christmas and the New Year break. It's gonna be a nice little 2-week vacation or staycation in case you're not going anywhere. But Griff, thanks for coming out. Rock, same as always. Definitely appreciate you. Actually, Rick, I tell you what, we're talking about JPOT throwing out a $15 code, right? Then old Vols, he says, you know what, $15 from me too. And now Cape's gonna throw his hat in the ring and say we're gonna give a more than a Cape 10-ounce Yeti tumbler, to the winner and whoever picks the correct winner. So one's going to go to a driver and one's going to go to a fan out there in chat. Man, the generosity in this crowd is amazing.
Pete, it's All-Star Night. Why not? It's a night for just why not? There's no points. Everybody's going for the win. And as much as we hammer that point, it's really not going to be illustrated until we see these drivers weaving left and right, giving it a full send into turn 3. Guys putting their cars where they wouldn't dream of doing, but it's special. It's All-Star Night. Why not?
It is bragging rights for a year, Rick. Last year we had the All-Star race at Charlotte, pretty traditional. This year, Coe put it up to a vote. Said, you know what, y'all let me know where you want to go, and the winner gets it. So that's exactly what we did. Auto Club Speedway, very, very fast. A bit of banking, high draft. Although they're running, I don't want to confuse anybody out there. They are running normal draft tonight. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of very, very fast cars out here. We can't overstate that. They are just about halfway, maybe a little bit further through their qualifying. and it's going to be very, very interesting to see who's going to be able to just go hammer down, throw a little bit of caution to the wind, knowing that they've only got to get around this place for 2.5 to 3 laps. Let the tires eat. You know, if you're waiting for your turn to qualify, we've seen a few people run that trick where they'll sit there in neutral and, you know, kind of slightly hammer down on the throttle to burn off some of the fuel, lighten up the car. That way they can get through that corner a little bit faster, carry that speed down the front and backstretch a little bit faster. It's gonna be interesting to see who among this very, very elite field gets the pole and won't have to worry about checking up when we go green.
Cars are just finishing up their qualifying runs now, Pete, so we should expect them to finish up and throw the green flag within these next 5 to 10 minutes. And then we don't have to ask any more questions. We just sit back with the rest of the fans and enjoy this all-star race.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. If you enjoyed the All-Star Open, where about 15 cars battle it out, you're gonna absolutely enjoy what you're about to see here. Definitely appreciate you, Panda Girl, subscribing with Prime. I hope you enjoy your commercial-free content anytime you're right here with me, whether it's for the trucks on Tuesdays right about 9:30 Eastern, Wednesdays with the Xfinity, or Thursday nights with the Cup. These guys are going to be off for the next 2 weeks. They've got off for Christmas, and then they've also got off for New Year's. But between then and now, might have a little something here and there with Unforgotten Shadows League, as well as Turn Down for What. Not quite sure what their schedule's going to be, but Panda, man, thank you very, very much. Experts are racing out there. Rick says he predicts a 4-wide pass for the lead. Now it's going to be interesting to see whether we see something like that on the start of it, or are we going to see something coming to the finish? That's going to, man, can you imagine, Rick, a 4-wide battle for the lead on the very last lap? We've seen 3 and 4 wide at Michigan last year in the NNR Cup Series. I don't think we've seen that yet this year, though.
Anything's going to be possible, Pete. I expect these drivers to be a bit respectful in these early laps, but it's not going to be a long race. So they need to obviously manage their resources carefully, but you can't be too cautious about it, Pete. Drivers like TGM Beast are going to be doing their best to cut their way through this field early and make sure that the competition stays well away from what they're trying to accomplish tonight.
Now, Rick, if you were to make some contact with old Lucky Dog or Amore Smoke or CGMX Rose, you know, any of these guys out here on any given week where points are on the line, they're going to give you a little bit, you know, they're going to make it known that they're not exactly happy with you. But what about tonight where there's no points? It's for bragging rights, for proving that you're the fastest in NNR, regardless of what season you run. Again, there's about 10 guys here from trucks, 10 from Xfinity, and 10 from Cup, plus the 3 that race their way in the through the Open. So if you were to make some contact with these guys, where it's all about bragging rights and, you know, maybe a tumbler from morethanAcape.org, what would you be willing to do for that W?
Well, Pete, for a Klondike bar, there's not much I would do for than a morethanAcape.org tumbler. There's a lot that I would do for that. I don't know if these guys are above spinning each other out on the last lap. I hope it doesn't come to that, but you could expect and you could almost predict that on that last lap, if it's a side-by-side fight out of turn number 2, these drivers will give each other no space. What happens into turn 3 and on the final straightaway is up to the racing gods.
The racing gods and the men behind these wheels, all different manufacturers, all different paint schemes, all different numbers tonight, all different racing lines, all different, you know, times to get off the throttle, times to get back on, different levels of wear, different wedges, different tire pressures, maybe a little bit different of a tape. Very different field tonight, all different paint schemes. Rick, this is a night of difference. we we can't say anything more about the All-Star race and how different it is from any other night. We're not racing under the lights. It's kind of cold outside, but we could be talking about one hot night and one hot temper when these guys are all said and done. They've got about a minute and a half left on the clock. And then they'll all be going back to the lobby. We're going to find out who's going to be our pole setter, who's going to be the trend setters. We got a couple of guys out there to assist us with fuel and laps and anything else that may happen out on the track. Rick, time's winding down.
Time's winding down, less than a minute and a half to end this qualifying session. You mentioned One Hot Night, Pete. There's actually a great mini documentary called One Hot Night about the very first NASCAR Winston Open that happened, I believe, the early 90s in Charlotte. And if I remember watching that correctly, Humpy Wheeler, the track president at the time, flipped the switch on the lights at Charlotte and his hair caught on fire. Hopefully, we don't have anything that disastrous tonight.
Yeah, I definitely I do remember that. And if I'm not mistaken, that's also the night that, and I could be wrong, that Jeff Gordon ran that T-Rex 24 car, and he was told to never bring that car back to a track again. I could be, misconstruing my facts a little bit, but it kind of seems to stick out.
Pete, the legendary Ray Evernham was the crew chief on the car that evening. I believe it was the 1998 Winston. Jeff Gordon spanked that field in so many ways that they actually felt hurt. Come to what they called the Oval Office, or the Big Red Hauler, at the end. Bill France is sitting there smoking a cigarette, looking at Ray Evernham, pointing to this race car and saying, "That car is illegal. There's no possible way that Jeff Gordon could have won by this many seconds." Ray Evernham says, "Mr. France, tear the car apart. You will find that it is perfectly legal." And it was. Ray Evernham, a genius at car construction, car building, and just regular racing in general, played well between those lines and in the gray area. So when he told Bill France that car was legal, Bill France took one look at Ray Evernham and he said, "It won't be tomorrow."
You got that right, man. So much history. Rick, the guys are getting back to the lobby. They're going to get those last minute instructions from Coey and J-Pod, Stout Whiskey, and a few others to get that green flag waving. As for experts of racing, says he can't wait for the race to go green so we can get a good old all-star yeehaw. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm looking forward to it as well. The 2020 NNR All-Star race from Auto Club Speedway. It doesn't get much faster except for maybe Michigan or something like that. But these guys are going to be packing it in as tight as they possibly can. We're going to have to see who's going to be the one to make the right adjustments right off the get-go. But better yet, being that NNR is more predominantly known for running green flag laps, who's going to be, with no points on the line, who's going to be the one to maybe get a little risky and start off on a higher preset, risk getting a little loose, coming out of the corners where their front end's pointing towards the inside wall instead of straight down the backstretch. There's so many different variables out here. Again, Rick, we're talking about starting off on a 9, starting off on a 3, or otherwise. It's going to be interesting.
Incredibly interesting indeed, Pete. In 2014, Jamie McMurray, driving the number 1 for Chip Ganassi Racing, absolutely demolished the field in the final stage of that all-star race. That is the performance that you're alluding to right now. Just one driver that just pulls away from the rest. Look to Lucky Dog 385. Look to drivers like CGMX Rose and even TGM Beast, who's been on a bit of a hot streak lately. California is going to put up some immense speeds with these high draft and tuned cars, Pete. They're less than a few minutes away from the green flag. I would keep my eye, again, on Lucky Dog, Rose, TGM Beast, but also look out for the Aviator.
Aviator is absolutely strong. He put he put his hat back in the ring, said, "No, fellas, I've changed my mind. I am not going part-time. I will be full-time this year." And I think when that happened, being a two-time champ, he knows how to get it done a little bit later in the season. Obviously, earlier in the season as well, when he's able to rack and stack all those points, he knows exactly how to get it done. Joining us in the booth, the one and only creator of NNR just a couple short years ago, Coey. Bud, you weren't able to progress into the All-Star race. You definitely looked like you had a pretty good car. I think you said pit road is kind of what bit you. What are you looking forward to for this main All-Star race?
Yeah, I got the old pit road did not agree with me well with my pit crew. They're all fired. I'm hoping for a good show. We got unfortunately we have more Cup guys I think that ended up showing up, so there's gonna be a lot of white cars out there. But through the qualifying, Aviator is on the pole, so look out for him getting the past champion provisional there to jump in here and battle his way to another win.
Well, Rick, you just talked about him. The people are going to have to watch out for him. Well, there you go. Coey mentions him right off the get-go as having the pole. I think this looks like CGMX Rose. He's going to have P number 2. And you mentioned Lucky Dog. He's actually going to be starting in P5. I wonder if he was just a little cautious about his lap. If I'm not mistaken, in the truck and Xfinity, we saw these guys really get down on the apron in turns 3 and 4, just a little bit. I don't know if you can try that so much in these Cup cars unless you're lower on that preset spectrum. Well, man, it's gonna be interesting once they take the screen.
You got your invite there, Pete?
I did, but it looks like they're still paused, Coey.
What do you mean?
Looking at Cowboy stream, he's still.
Oh yeah. Do you need another invite?
I guess you can send me one once they go in.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this here and let them go.
All right.
Here's another invite. All right, guys, we're doing 150 laps, 100%, 2 times wear, and we are on normal draft for this event.
There you go, straight from the horse's mouth. No, yeah, okay. So 100% race for the All-Star race wouldn't make it any better. Coey, thank you very much and good luck, bud. 100% race, 2 times wear, 2 times fuel, normal draft, big pack racing. Again, Coey mentioned some of the guys didn't make it, Rick. So it's still going to be a phenomenal field.
It's going to be a wonderful field, Pete. With this 150 laps out here, that's quite the distance for these cars to travel. So we'll see how fast they can pull it off in these Xfinity rides.
Yeah. You thank you very much. I just caught on to all that. We are not in, even though anytime we're normally talking about Coey and the Aviator and all those guys, we're talking about the Cup cars. That's right. Even though there's a lot of Cup and truckers in here, we are racing the Xfinity cars. So yeah, they should be able to, if they can tiptoe it through the apron. They should be able to get down and get dirty if they've got to. Maybe use it for a pass. Bowling out there in chat saying, "Let's put on a good show, boys." Well, Bowling, if you missed the All-Star Open, they did one hell of a job. The battle to make it in was pretty good, and we're about to see more of the same. Again, Coey, getting back with those guys, getting ready to set them off. Looks like they have just about 30 seconds left on the clock. And Rick James, that green flag's going to be in the air.
Flag is going to be in the air. You mentioned the history in this race, Pete. So many legendary drivers have won an all-star race, and I think for NNR it could be the same. Winning an all-star is only something that you can do once a year. So for any of these drivers, like you mentioned, the bragging rights are so important. Winning this race will mean absolutely everything, not just to say that you did, but to be able to brag about it and to put your name in NNR history.
Rick, here comes your invite to write down the next chapter of this NNR story. So let's see. There you are. Love that picture, by the way. Looking at the Fanatec equipment that all the pro leaguers got this year, the shifter, the pedals, the wheel, they all got a driver's seat. The pro league drivers this year were very, very well equipped. Rick, Expert Racing says, tell Rick I said what's up and good luck to both of us here in the booth.
My man, Expert Racing, a big shout out to you. Glad to have you in the chat. Sit back and relax, man, because this race is going to be epic.
As always, we'll go through the field, and you can definitely see the different paint schemes. The white is for the Cup drivers, the red is for your Xfinity drivers, and the blue is for your truckers. So definitely a mix all the way around, and it looks like right now, Rick, it's going to be a Cup lockout of at least your top four. 17 of the Aviator, he's going to start on the pole immediately. Immediate bragging rights for him. CGMX Rose in starting P number 2. The 4-car of Boehner, another one that's been very, very fast all the way throughout. 6-car of NNR Rowdy. Man, he's going to make some noise. 22 of Lucky Dog. Mentioned earlier that he's going to be starting P5. You got the 5 of Tenacious Z. He's going to be the first trucker to work his way up inside the top 10. The 12 of NNR Drake, able to advance himself through the open. Honestly, you're bad. He came in P2 in that open. J-Pa, he was all over chat before this kicked off. Good to see him out there. 8-car of Parzival. Again, my silent hunter. Have to see how well he does. Dan the Lawn Man in this white number 10. Cole 315. He's going to be the first red Xfinity driver out here. Master Killer right there with him. You got TGM Beast. As you mentioned, he's been on quite a tear lately. 2-car of Shadowlac. 20 of Mike Honcho. The 15 of King Mathers. The 1-car of Q-Dog. Get it done, buddy. 10-car of NNR Cowboy. Thank you for the stream help. 6 of Yotes King. And then the 8 of Unforgotten Shadow with NNR Coey. He's going to pull off. He's just out here to make sure that these guys get a good send-off. Rick James, we're back up front. 17's getting to the restart zone. Here we go. Going green.
Green here at the Auto Club Speedway. The 17 of the Aviator leads with the 1 of CGMX Rose to his outside, and the 2020 NNR All-Star is underway. 17-1 nose to tail, and look at those white Cup cars just funnel into each other. Supras, Camaros, Mustangs, all left and right, squeezing, pulling, trying to find some early space in lap number 1.
Yeah, right now CGMX Rose all over the back bumper of the Aviator. Give him a shove all the way down the backstretch. They are now 3 wide for P number 2. These guys can handle that and more very, very easily. Rick, the turns here very wide, very sweeping, plenty of room to make many different kinds of moves.
Now 34 laps to go in this first stage. Aviator still leading, but look at the width on this racetrack, Pete. There's so much space and so much room for activities out here. These guys need to take advantage, and they need to use the draft well. Already you can see these Cup drivers have just pulled away from the rest, and it's nothing but white race cars at the front of this, denoting all of these Cup drivers. Boehner in that 4 now looking to the inside of Aviator for the lead.
Yeah, Boehner, he's been steadily on the move since the green flag drop. He's been making moves down low, trying to keep up as much momentum, a little bit of a draft when and where possible. Boehner doing very, very well so far. In fact, he's going to challenge right here, down low.
They're now to the inside of car number 17. Looking for that move, and then there's the Aviator on the outside trying to hang on to her. The 6, the 1 now behind Boehner, and look at the move to the inside. Here comes that 1 car now trying to take that pass for position. Brave move, and it's the white number 1, not the red number 1. CGMX Rose in this white number 1 Camaro now on the outside of car number 6. That's NNR Rowdy. Boehner in the 4, Lucky Dog in that 22. In that 12 car, you're going to find NNR Drake. And then, Pete, we mentioned that blue number 5 that's being piloted by, lost him, Tenacious Z.
Yeah, Tenacious, he has absolutely been lighting the wick in the Xfinity Series, been doing a phenomenal job. So we'll have to see if he can get up here and keep it up with these Cup guys. So far, so good. And actually, no, I take that back. Blue is for truckers, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Tenacious keeping right in the mix. But he is absolutely surrounded by white up front and red in the back.
30 laps to go in this opening stage of the 2020 All-Star, and there's no clear-cut leader so far. The Aviator doing his best to hang on, but now here comes that number 1 car challenging for first place. Now to the inside of the Aviator, it's CGMX Rose on the inside of the 17. Drag race for first into turn number 3.
Yeah, drag race for first. They are 2 wide, 3 rows deep. The first one to lay back, that's not a part of a 2 wide, was the 22 of Lucky Dog. He was all by himself, had all kinds of room to the outside, but wisely chose to keep it on that bottom line. CGMX Rose now has the lead to himself.
New leader, that number 1 of CGMX Rose, but now he has to watch out for Boehner, the 4 car that's sitting behind him. Aviator's first car on the outside in that white number 17. Hard to tell, but look close on the side. There you can see that 1-7, and right behind him is that number, I believe that's the number 8, Pete, I'm not sure, that Toyota Supra, and there's one of the red cars already down into the apron, contact into 3.
Yeah, looking back right now, and thought I saw somebody up in the wall, whoever that was away in the back, that red car. Looks like they were able to hold on to it, so good job by them to keep this keep this rolling. Again, we do have a few people out there that are assisting us with lap counts and whatnot. 160 laps is on tap for tonight. 28 more laps here in stage number 1. Rick, these guys have run about what 7 to 10 laps already. So if they're getting 28 more laps here in stage number 1, that stage 3 is going to be phenomenal. And also during that stage, all voting ends for who everybody out there in chat thinks will be in the top 3. So guys and gals, make sure you get your vote in, and you're going to want to participate. There's $30 in Xbox cards on tap, as well as a morethancape.org Yeti, and the winner of this race is going to get a Yeti from morethancape.org as well. So a whole lot on store. Big run here from Rowdy, trying to get all over the back bumper, that 4 of Boehner.
Rowdy in the 6, Pete, and some drivers experiencing a little bit of lag. It's 2 minutes after 10 p.m. We've just barely survived the bump. The 4 of Boehner briefly taking the lead to the outside, but now it's CGMX Rose and car number 1 to the front, and 3 wide for second place. The 22 of Lucky Dog to the inside, the 6 of Rowdy in the middle, and it looks like the 17 of Aviator on the high side. Now 26 laps remaining in the opening stage of this all-star race. Rose leads, but Lucky Dog is filling his mirror.
Rick, I don't know why or how or what's wrong if you don't like this kind of of racing. I mean, some people, yeah, they prefer it be low draft, so the guy up front can, if he's got the best car, he goes on and wins the race. But man, if you don't like this kind of back and forth racing, side drafting, regular drafting 2, 3, 4 wide. Check your pulse, please.
25 laps to go, and there's just a quarter left in the opening stage, and you would be dead if you couldn't appreciate this kind of racing. This gorgeous, if I will. Just look at these cars. It looks like an IROC race, Pete. Just the way that they're just similarly designed. Lucky Dog now to the inside of the 1 of Rose, but now the 6 of Rowdy to the inside of Lucky Dog. 3 wide for the lead into turn number 3. The 6 using the apron, the 22 falling behind with no momentum, but now the 6 of Rowdy losing that momentum on the inside. Drag race for first. 22 to the inside, the 1 to the outside at the line. Lucky Dog 385 is your new leader. 3 wide for second place.
3 wide for second, 6 all the way down low, getting a big old shove all the way down on and close to the apron. But right now, 22 of Lucky Dog. Rick, Lucky took the pole in the open race and never looked back. Well, now he's been able to work his way up to the front, just being very, very methodical about it. Whether he had to keep it down low, occasionally take it in the middle, or what have you, the 22's found his way to the lead. This could spell issues for the rest of the field, because the last time Clean Air ended up on the hood of this Camaro, he was able to pull away.
And the lawn man briefly saw himself in second place, but now he's dropped back to the 4th position with 23 laps remaining in stage number 1. He sits in 4th, but not far off the lead. However, right behind him, you have the 8 of Parzival, the 10 of Dan the Lawn Man holding his own, but now here comes another 10 car, that red 10 of Cole 315, who's making his way through. Pardon the double numbers. TGM Beast in this blue number 3, now on the fringes of this front pack. But at the front of this entire pack, Pete, now CGMX Rose is challenging Lucky Dog for first.
Yeah, one of Rose down low. He's got 10 right behind him. 17 is there as well. But the 22 of Lucky Dog, he's got help up top as well. Able to really keep that car wound up off the high side. Kept it digging, able to get back in the throttle just a little bit sooner than the guys down low. Rick James, we haven't really seen anybody go to the bottom side and the one in the middle or the high side come on down and pinch them there to make sure they couldn't get back in the throttle when they wanted or when they needed to. These guys have been giving all kinds of room. They're staying right on each other's tail, but at the same time, they are not pressing each other very hard as of yet. And I say that word with all kinds of stress, yet.
Only nobody knows what's going to happen in the remaining laps of this race. But the way they're racing so far, you can tell that the KG opening was just a precursor, and now it's time to settle and find who you're going to work with. There's still plenty of laps remaining. I believe over 20 to go in this opening stage. Lucky Dog in the 22, Rose in the 1, right now trading blows between these drivers, and they should be working together to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. But the 12, the 4, and it looks like the 6 have something to say about that.
Yeah, I tell you what, someone else has got something to say. Old Bama out there says, y'all gotta know I love you. I turned off my game so my internet could show me the race. Bama, I tell you what, that's awesome. I know you come out to support your son in the United States Army that's currently stationed over in South Korea. You're always there for me and Rick James and a few others. Just know that we absolutely, we appreciate you. Vols constantly tells us that you're trying to learn more and more about this one sport that we all absolutely love. As the 12 of Drake dips on down underneath the 22, he's trying to be the about the third or fourth different leader. Rick, this kind of racing absolutely produces just that.
It produces amazing, amazing racing to watch here. The 12 of NNR Drake, now your new leader into turn number 1. The 1 of CGMX Rose now behind him, and the 4 of Boehner in the second position now on the outside. Lucky Dog in the top lane, losing speed and momentum out of 2, 3 wide for first place down the back straight. Pete, look at this. Boehner to the inside. It looks like a plate track out here. 3 rows, 3 abreast, 2 rows deep, and I'm flabbergasted looking at this amazing display of driving. 1 to the outside, but now here comes the 4 of Boehner.
Yeah, Boehner doing a great job. Rick James, this is something that I have I have been privy to this for over 2 years now. Ever since I first stepped into the booth with the one and only HD Motorsports and got a taste of what NNR was about. Again, these guys can handle themselves all around this track. They're great with their communication. They're great with their track awareness. I would put NNR up against any other league at any time, and I would not have any reservation about what the result was going to be. This place is my home, and man, I would not want to be anywhere else. These guys do a phenomenal job every time they head to a track.
100%. Experts' prediction came true, and it looks like green flag pit stops are already underway. That's dedication by Bama Trama to make sure her internet is in peak condition to listen to us broadcast this race. Big shout out to Bama Trama. Love you too, Mrs. Vols. Now, the number 1 of CGMX Rose dipping down to the white line. Is he signaling for a pit stop here? With green flag stops underway and less than 20 laps remaining, Pete, they can make it to the end of stage number 1. Here comes the leaders.
Wow, that one that just dove off down just in front of NNR Drake. I'd be very, very curious to see if he was able to row it down in time, because he flew into the pits. The one car was down low on the apron. It looks like he was safely able to work his way down pit road, even under braking on that apron. More and more now in front of Drake, signaling that they're coming on down pit road, including the 22 of Lucky Dog that time. Coey sitting there on the backstretch, just about got collected. Coey, you might want to find a better seat. There's got to be one somewhere in the house. But man, yeah, that would have been interesting. 4 leaders on pit road, Rick.
He just wants to be a part of the action, Pete, and now more drivers coming down pit road. NNR Drake, part of those leaders, the one of CGM Rose, now leaving pit road. It doesn't look like he incurred any speeding penalties, but now the track is a conveyor belt of race cars. The drivers have less than 20 laps remaining and less than 20 laps of fuel in their cars, so they'll make it to the end on gas, Pete, but the tires, those precious Goodyear Eagles, are going to make the difference in stage number 1.
Yeah, it's going to be, when you've got to go the entire length of a fuel run, you've absolutely got to worry about those tires. You know, with this being the first chance that they've got to make any kind of adjustments to the car, do they go a little freer with that right rear, or maybe keep that left rear to where it plants the car coming off of the corner? Do they do something with the right front, and then hopefully that the left front will keep it, you know, from sliding the nose coming off? There's so many different variables that could happen with these cars. But Rick, even with these guys going down pit road, starting to see where they're all getting right back together again.
Oh, absolutely, Pete. Right now, at the front of this race, it looks like it's CGMX Rose leading in car number 1. I don't know if he took fuel or not, Pete. Drivers all using this apron to their advantage. I just saw the 3 of TGM Beast start to lose control of that race car. And we mentioned risk versus reward, Pete. Lucky number 13 laps to go next time by. And there's a lot of risk trying to drive the car harder than what it can. Right now, with all these drivers behind that one of CGMX Rose, they would do well to ride out the rest of stage number 1 and get ready for stage 2.
Commando Griff wants to know, is there any incentive to winning the stages? Nope, there isn't an incentive to winning the stages. However, if you can correctly choose the top 3 at the end of the race before the end of stage number 2, there is $30 in Xbox cards available, as well as a Yeti from morethanAcape.org to the person that correctly chooses the winner, and then the winner in the race will also receive a Yeti from morethanAcape.org. So Cape out there getting very much involved, as he always does. Cape, we definitely appreciate you. Rick, the sights and sounds of these Xfinity cars going on by. I was actually staying quiet there for a little bit, just listening to them and watching them come through and off the corners, listening to where they're getting back on the throttle. Didn't really hear anything about these tires, doing or making any kind of sound or scrubbing or anything like that. Then again, you could hear that on iRacing. I don't think I've ever actually heard that on E5. Just kind of confusing it a little bit. But man, these guys that are behind Rose has a good 15 to 20 car lengths back to P2. They would be, it would be in their best interest to really try to get lined up and try to reel back in Rose and the incredible lead that he's got.
An incredible lead that he has here, Pete, and a fantastic place to do it at. These drivers need to get used to it while they can, because we know that the format for this Auto Club Speedway will be changing very, very soon. They're going to build a smaller, shorter track on the inside here of the track, something a little bit more catering to NASCAR. When the track was originally built for Indy cars, they broke ground in 1995 at the cost of $100 million, and the Penske-owned Fontana, California Speedway was open, showcasing amazing 240-mile-an-hour races by Indy cars here. Motorcycles have run here. IMSA has come here, and now the No Name Racing Series brings its legendary talent to the 2 miles of Auto Club Speedway. In these final 10 laps, Pete, it's been a marvel to see what these cars do in stage 1.
Yeah, and Rick, you know, 10 to go. I think that's what we have next time. Next time Cowboy Matt or one of these guys comes on by the start stripe, we'll be able to double check it. Yeah, you were right. Now there's 9 to go, and they've got 12 laps in the tank. So these guys are going to be good to go on fuel. From what we saw in the open, tires really weren't a thing. But as these guys are slicing and dicing and ducking and diving and trying, cutting to the inside, letting it slide up on the outside, you've got to figure they are wearing on these tires just a little bit. As the 6 kind of sees a little bit of the wall there. Not quite sure if Dan the Lawn Man helped them with that, or if that was just a little bit of a glitch on the 6's side. But Rick or CGMX Rose out in front of that 22 of Lucky Dog. He's not looking back. Everybody from second on back can't wait to reel that 6 car back in and see if anybody else is going to have anything for him.
7 laps to go at the line. We mentioned CGMX Rose at the top of the hour, at the top of the show, in fact. And we mentioned Rose, Lucky Dog, TGM Beast would be cars to watch, but I don't think we've ever seen anybody beat Lucky Dog by this grand of a margin, Pete. So CGM Rose has certainly hooked up the strategy in this car, and look at what he's done with it. And this is what All-Star Night can bring out. On a night where many people predict Lucky Dog to run away with the competition, look at what we have here. The NNR points leader, who's won 6 races out of 12 starts, absolutely demolishing the competition.
Yeah, ever since Lucky got his hands on that Fanatec equipment, once he got drafted by Ganassi Gaming to drive the 42 in the Pro League, he has absolutely stepped up his game. I mean, he's to be up there with the 22 and a 37 a track bar and all those other guys in the Pro League. It's only gonna hone in your skills just a little bit better. And Rose has to be considered an early favorite for the championship after this race. We're getting into the second half of the NNR season. Rose has to be considered a favorite.
Absolutely, Pete. Especially after just putting on the performance that he has in stage 1. Drivers have an entire second stage to even set their cars for that final money stage. So the fact that CGMX Rose is leading by so much tells me he still has more to learn, but he's got such an advantage over the rest of these drivers.
Yeah, Rose looks like he might be getting just a little bit loose. The back end of that one Shriners Hospital Camaro is very, very dented in. So I'm going to guess that there was a little bit of an issue on the restart, or it could have just been lag damage from going down pit road. We all see these cars bounce around just a little bit when they're going in and out of their pits. But the front end of that Camaro is crisp. Not a single scratch.
Pete, the last time and the only time car number 1 won the All-Star race was 2014 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jamie McMurray, of all drivers, who you would not have predicted to win that All-Star race, brought home all the candies in spectacular style, much like CGMX Rose is doing now. Perhaps it's a premonition for what we'll see in stage 3. Perhaps it's just a precursor to something more exciting later in the evening.
Yeah, I absolutely remember when Jamie McMurray stepped in for the All-Star race for the injured Sterling Marlin, and he brought that 40 quarters, I think it was a Dodge at the time, to victory lane, and it really opened up a lot of people's eyes. It helped them get a pretty steady ride into the Cup Series, and the rest is history. He's been in the 1, he's been in the 40, he's been in the 42, he's been around a little bit now as a commentator for, I think it's like NASCAR 360 or something like that. So now retired, Jamie McMurray was pretty good behind the wheel. He's another one with a lot of those big trophies in his display case. The Coke 600, Daytona 500, and a few others. So I absolutely remember that night at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
It was October in the year of 2002, filling in for the injured Sterling Marlin in that UAW GM Quality 500. I believe it was his 5th win, where he led right around 100 laps to claim victory. His first win, in his 5th start, where he led about 100 laps, beating drivers like Tony Stewart and Terry Labonte. And from there, Pete, it was just famous win after famous win. His second win came at Daytona, just edging Kyle Busch to the line in the July night race. His third win came at Talladega 2 years later, driving for Roush Racing. You mentioned he's won the Daytona 500, the Brickyard 400. He ends up winning the Coke 600, and then his final victory in 2013 to show that the old man has still got it. Coming to the checkered flag, CGMX Rose is putting on a very legendary McMurray-like performance in this 2020 All-Star.
Yeah, and everybody here behind CGMX Rose really battling out there 2 and 3 wide, coming to the line. Further back, of course, we got all the guys that have been able to help us out with laps and whatnot. But yes, CGMX Rose, there's no points on the line, Rick. I'm not going to say going to go ahead and grab max stage points here in stage number 1, but he's got to feel pretty great about his chances to win it all with what he's been able to do very early in this race. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Y'all want to know how to follow NNRLeague.com one more time? Take a look at this, and we'll be right back.
Hey NNR fans, don't miss any of the action by following or subscribing to Repeat's Twitch channel. Turn on notifications and you'll always know when the best preset league on Xbox hits the track. Check out his YouTube channel too to see all of NNR's past races. Follow No Name Racing as well as Repeat 1975 and others on Twitter, and you'll never miss any of the action.
All right, guys, we are going to take it green one more time. Looks like gold, the 22 of Lucky Dog, the 1 of CGMX Rose. They are going to be your front couple. Still a many different shades of white. Going to lead this field around. You got a couple of red Xfinity cars right there, and then you've got a few blue truckers as well. But right now, it is a cup lockout of at least the top 5 or top 6.
CGMX Rose, your stage 1 winner right now behind the number 22 of Lucky Dog, and he finds himself just ahead of car number 7. That looks like in that 3rd position. That race car being piloted by J-Paw, head of that J-Paw militia. And a shout out to Bill's Legend as well, asking how his team is doing. Good start for these cars up at the front. Single file, not what I expected, Pete, but from 4th on back, it is a cluster of race cars. Now as they cross the line, there's 31 laps remaining in stage number 2.
Yeah, J-Pop made a huge abrupt move to the inside to try to get around the 1 of CGMX Rose. He is down low. Lucky Dog right now has an entire field in his rear view. The 7 of J-Pop to the inside of the 1, but the 1 has a little bit of help on the outside. And Rick, it always seems like the guys up on the wall get just a little bit better of an advantage. I don't know if it's a little bit of a draft thing or what, but it seems like if you're on that wall, not only with help maybe from ahead or behind, but it seems like if you're up there, you've got a little extra HP under the hood.
Just a little bit of horsepower, Pete, and of course the less wind resistance from the car ahead helps you just sail through that front straight. Now it is not straight this front straight, and it is very bumpy and uneven. So drivers have to almost drive with more caution than they do on the low line in the corners. Right now we've got a three-way fight for first, Pete, and this is the racing that we've grown accustomed to. The 17 to the inside of the one of Rose, powering ahead like he just hit that booster, and he takes a clear lead.
Yeah, it took a clear lead right from the 22-17 down low as well. CGMX Rose right back in a very, very familiar position. Will he have, though, the opportunity to pull away? We saw that before, but now everybody has had ample time to spend it on pit road, grab their larger adjustments. Should have been able to do anything they needed to do with tire pressures, their wedge, their tape if they needed anything like that. With 40 to 45 seconds plus the 15 seconds or so they spent on pit road earlier, everybody should be good to go. Now, if they find during the long run they're a little loose during this stage, they do get a one green flag pit stop if that caution flag doesn't come out. But Rick, so far they've been all green and clean.
Clean and green with 28 laps to go in stage number 2 at the front of this race. Lucky Dog still sitting in second behind the number 1 of CGMX Rose. And hopefully we get a different story than stage 1. Lucky Dog now drafting well up to the back of Rose, but we didn't see any cars break out from each other until those green flag pit stops, Pete. So expect a close race and fierce competition, but where the drivers have learned to break away from each other is the services they elect down pit road.
Man, it's gonna be interesting. You know, we see that whether it's here or if it's at Daytona or Talladega or anywhere else. Once green flag pit stops are underway, the field gets broken up. But the 22 of Lucky Dog, you know, NNR Drake, J-Pa here in this 7, or anybody else, they've got to try to figure out exactly what it was that CGMX Rose did to be able to grab such a massive advantage. Was it just 2 tires? I mean, he had to fill it up all the way on that Sunoco E15 fuel. He could not have taken just, you know, half a can or 1.5. He had to be able to go the entire distance. So the only other thing I can think of was right sides. But when the cars behind him were drafting, they weren't biting into his lead. They were actually losing time. So Rose found a way to get onto pit road and come on out with an enormous lead. They're going to have to figure out what he did. Otherwise, Rose may have more of the same, not only here in stage 2, but stage 3 when it means a whole lot more.
Right now it looks like the race is to pit road, not necessarily the race to the checkered flag in this second stage. Lucky Dog now to the inside of car number 1, but he's got the Aviator behind him in car 17, and these two drivers have been battling left and right all week long, Pete. Not just in stock cars, but in Indy cars as well for the past few weeks. These two have developed such a lovely, friendly rivalry that it's great to see them nose to tail, and now CGMX Rose in this one car is a part of the fun too.
Yeah, working my way back up there to the 1 to the 22. Right now, 17 of the Aviator sitting right here in P number 3. You know, he was one that we talked about very, very early, and right now he's got a front row seat to any kind of calamity that may happen between these two. As you mentioned, they're racing not only here but elsewhere as well. Aviator and Lucky Dog, they know how to rub fenders of many types and be able to get away with it clean.
Well, and that's what it's going to take, Pete. It takes that mutual respect between drivers, that trust that you have with one another to understand that you can race each other incredibly hard, but you have to be respectful of that space. And it almost sounds like an oxymoron to race each other hard but clean. But as you're seeing here, this 3-wide fight for second place, that is hard and clean. The way that the 22 just dared to send his car in the middle, knowing that the other two would maintain their solid lines, that's the mutual trust that these drivers have to produce this kind of racing.
Well, NNR Rowdy down to the bottom line. He's got the 17 of the Aviator to the outside. Looks like he might have had a little bit of an issue right there getting from the center off, but he got a little loose, kicked sideways just a bit, but able to hold on to it. But he's actually going to lose a little bit of the momentum that he had and fall back to P number 5, just behind the nope, that's not the 7 of J-Pop. So So move Rowdy back to P number 5, and a big gap behind him to a small pack of 3, and then the the remaining parts of that Hornet's Nest just now starting to come across the start stripe.
That red and blue Hornet's Nest looking like a bowl of cereal behind there. Oops, it's all race cars, just red and blue fanning behind all of these white Cup cars at the front. 22 laps to go, about to be 21 laps to go, and car 22. Lucky Dog 385 now turning the screw and applying the pressure to CGMX Rose. The Aviator in car number 17 patiently waiting in the 3rd position for some action to pop off. J-Paw sitting in the 4th place position right now. Rowdy right behind him in 5th, and then there's an appreciable gap to 7th on back. These 5 Pete so far, the darlings of stage number 2 with less than 21 laps remaining.
Yeah, CGMX Rose able to keep that bottom line going. 22 of Lucky Dog. It looked like he was going to be able to dive into the corner a little bit, but I'm guessing he got tight. Now here comes the 17 all over the back bumper of that 22. Again, these guys are very, very familiar with each other, know how each other races. One thing about NNR, they take care of each other on the track to the best of their abilities. That's one thing that Stout Whiskey preaches very, very often. Take care of your competition, they will take care of you, and it always puts on one hell of a show. One car still trying to hold off Lucky. Lucky can't seem to get back in the throttle, be able to complete the pass. Rose just seems to have the preferred line.
I love that sentiment. Take care of your competition. Recognizing they are your competition. They are there to fight you for position, but to not forget the human behind the screen. Take care of your fellow driver, and it will produce great racing. They have taken care of each other beautifully so far, almost like a family of football players playing together, but fighting each other for the one spot that they all need. This is great to see at the front. Rose and Lucky Dog side by side fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, again, everything's still right in front of the 7 car of J-Paw right now, looking ahead to the 1, to the 22, and to the 17. J-Paw still has the 6 car Rowdy right in his back pocket. But Rick, as you look back from that 7, the rest of the pack is almost nowhere to be seen. And it looks like we've actually got our first caution of the night. This is going to eliminate everybody having to go down pit road under green. 19 laps remaining. And guys, there's also only 19 laps for you to get your vote in on who you believe will be the top 3 when it's all said and done. If you can name them correctly, there's $30 in Xbox. I almost said F1, right? $30 in Xbox gift cards, as well as a tumbler, a Yeti tumbler from the one and only More Than a Cape, from morethancape.org. Go on over, check them out. It's all about TJ's story. If that doesn't pull on a couple of heartstrings, nothing will, especially as we get a little bit closer to Christmas. Man, what a time. But back up here now with the 17th Aviator. Got 7 of J-Paw to his outside. 22 of Lucky Dog's going to start. P number 2, CGMX Rose in a very familiar spot, getting up and going through the gears. Rick, going back green, heading into 1 and 2.
1 and 2 with 15 laps remaining in stage number 2. The Aviator sitting 3rd right now. Lucky Dog on the outside. CGMX Rose leading this race. Nothing but Cup cars at the front, and it's fierce, fierce competition. The 7 of J-Paw now with momentum, clearing the 17 of Aviator for 3rd place. 1, 22, 7, your top 3 into turn 3. Camaro, Ford out of 4.
Yeah, checking in with another Ford right now. One of the guys that was up front early is going to be that 4 car of Boehner. Right now sitting in, about P number 6 or P number 7. Got a couple of his Cup compadres right there with him as well. It looks like the first non-Cup driver is going to be someone from our Xfinity series. Might be Cole or someone else. But either way, trying to get up here to mix it up with all these white cars in the lead.
Lucky number 13 laps remaining the next time they cross the line. That 22 of Lucky Dog being hounded by the 7 of J-Paw right behind him. And that J-Paw militia doing everything he can to mass up and defend that challenge coming from Aviator, who's looking to fly his way into first place. So far, this top 4, nose to tail, but still fighting hard. A dozen laps left next time they go by.
Now, Rick James, I thought it might have been Cole 315 sitting back here, but it's actually going to be the 15 of King Mathers. Excuse me. No surprise that he's up here mixing it up with these guys. He is, after all, the American Ethanol Summer Series champ. He held off the one and only Stout Whiskey for his championship from Charlotte Motor Speedway, about a month and a half to 2 months ago. And since then, Mathers has been invited to many different leagues, and he always puts on one hell of a show. No doubt he is no doubt that he has made his way up into a position to try to mix it up with these Cup guys.
And the Lawn Man now joining this lead pack with 12 laps remaining, and it looks like no yellow. Sorry, just saw the cars twitch there. The 10 of Dan the Lawn Man regaining the draft, and now he's trying to pull a couple more cars with him at the front of this one, Pete. It's still a hard battle for this lead. Lucky Dog barely hanging on to her. He's got the 17 of Aviator right behind him.
Yeah, 17 of Aviator right there. There is the that's going to be the 7 of J-Pod. The numbers just a little yellow, kind of made it hard to focus in on. I'm guessing he just had to add a little bit of that Pennzoil yellow from the Double Deuce that he normally runs on Thursday nights. Of course, you know that he's got Cole 315, he's got Bill's Legend, he's got a whole bunch of people that pull for him week in and week out. But right now, Rick James, they are too wide for the first 3 rows.
Too wide for the first 3 rows, and now look at Lucky Dog 385, who's trying to gain momentum and speed out of 4, but CGMX Rose in that 1 car just edging him out of turn number 4. 1 to the inside, trying to use that apron. 22 with just a little bit more steam in the engine compartment, but now into turn number 1. How deep will they send it?
I don't think Lucky's going to be able to send it all that far, and I think CGMX Rose has seen what this 22 has been capable of when trying to get that outside line moving. No such luck, but now they're actually going to take it 3 wide. You got the 1 up high, 22 down low, and the 6 all the way on the bottom. And it looks like the 6 might have a little bit of an advantage. Here comes the 1, going to try to maybe give him a little bit of a shot. No, 1 car with the crossover coming off of 4. He's going to take it 3 wide. He's going to be the first one back to the line. Great job, CGMX Rose.
9 to go at the line. 1, 6, and now the 7. You can't see that yellow, but that is a 7 of J-Paw now on the inside. The 1 of CGMX Rose now on the high line. Gets a bit of a tap from the 22. He'll have momentum out of turn 2. The 6 of Rowdy now to the inside. He just edges the 1 down the back stretch, but now it's 1, 22, 4 on the high side, 6, 7, 17 on the inside. 2 by 2, 3 rows deep, 8 laps to go at the line. Pete, it's still anybody's race.
Still anybody's race, and guys, Rick James just said 8 laps to go. So you've got 8 more laps in order to pick your final 3. Who are going to be the top 3 coming across the start stripe when it's all said and done? Who are Rick James and I going to be interviewing when it's all said and done in the NNR booth? These guys have done a phenomenal job. I know it's very, very tough to pick. I have to say, if you've got the 22 and the 1 in your top 3, you're probably going to do very well. But still, a lot of racing yet to go. Stage 3, always the longest. This could be the longest for some of these drivers as well if their cars start to founder. But right now, the 122, the 17, the 7, your top 4.
Logan DeBrus says Rose, Aviator, Lucky Dog for his top 3, and he's got the Rose part and the Lucky Dog part correct. The Aviator part still has to get up into that 3rd position, but it's a good prediction so far. These 2 Chevrolets still fighting hammer and tongs. 6 laps to go. The next time they cross the stripe, and now Aviator moves into the top 3. Lucky Dog just trying to edge Rose along that backstretch, but he won't have enough speed. Rose will get a shot coming out of 4, Pete.
Yeah, Rose getting a little bit of a shot there. 22 going to duck in right in front of the 17 of the Aviator. Now those 3 kind of getting a little bit of separation from the rest of the pack. All those guys, they are getting single file on the bottom, just 1 lone car to the outside. If they can draft their way on back up, they're going to have something for these top 3 just as we get closer and closer to the stage break. Again, 6 laps remaining. Can the 22, 1, or the 17 hold off the rest? Or will one of them play spoiler? We're going to find out soon enough.
Gonna find out soon enough. And the 3 cars gone around in turn number 2. He's collected 2 more, Pete. A couple of cars have been collected. So far we stay green, and there's the yellow flag with less than 6 to go in stage number 2. Somebody must have been asking for more excitement, and here we go.
Well, if somebody's asking for it, they absolutely got it. If somebody's asking for a reset, they got it. One thing, the one looked like he had the 22 covered. Is he going to have them covered now on 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods? I don't imagine they're going to take any gas. So, Rick, we could be set to see some of the fastest laps that we've seen yet tonight.
100%, Pete. These last 4 or 3 laps to go are going to be probably some of the fastest we see all night, given that these cars are really going to be leaning on each other in stage number 3. Back to racing to close out this second stage. Lucky Dog is in the lead.
Yeah, Lucky Dog with the 12 to his outside, 17 of the Aviator, 1 is CJMX Rose, the 7 of J-Pa with the 6 in P number 6. Getting back to green, Rick, heading down this, well, not really straight away, but man, they definitely fly right off the get-go, getting up and getting through these gears. Will the 22 be able to hold them off? Or will the 17 of the Aviator, will the 1 of Rose, the 12 looks like he's falling back. I'm going to guess he didn't take any tires, and that is the difference between 4 old Eagles and 4 brand new ones.
White flag at the line. 22 leads the 17 into turn number 3. The 1 car of Rose now to the inside of the 7 car of J-Pa. 22, 17, 1 out of turn number 4. Pete, in the history of the NASCAR All-Star Race, car 22 has only won on 1 occasion. 2016, Joey Logano brought home the win after 113 laps for Team Penske with a very slow average speed of 98 miles per hour. Right now, Lucky Dog is flying at twice that speed into turn number 1, and if he can hang on for 2 more corners, he's going to get the win in stage number 2.
I'll tell you what, right now he's got a mirror full of that 17 of the Aviator all over his back bumper, maybe trying to make the 22 make a little bit of a mistake. Lucky Dog does not rattle easy. 22 down low. 17 is going to try to get down there as well. 22 is not going to be able to block side by side at the line. It's going to be Lucky Dog in that double deuce. Good job, great try, Aviator. But the 22 just had that little bit of extra under that Camaro hood, able to hold off that Mustang for P number 1. You guys, we're going to take one more break. Let's go back to NNRLeague.com. Talk about those fastest mugs.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Is that?
Oh, not a long time. Been good so far.
Yeah, it looks good.
Well, here we are, Rick James. The nighttime is the right time. These guys, here it is, almost 11 o'clock at night. These guys are just starting stage number 3, 2.5 hours into these couple of different races. 22's got the point, 1's right there, 17. They've been your top 3, and now, ladies and gents, voting is closed.
76 laps to go the next time they cross the line. Car 22 leading this race. CGMX Rose right behind him in the 1. J-Pa in the 7 sits in 3rd. The Aviator behind him in car 17. 3rd on the outside, now into the 3rd position, challenging CGMX Rose. 22, 1, 17 out of 4.
And now to introduce the guy that has been active in chat all night long, keeping everybody entertained. Buddy, thank you very much for the 1,000 plus bits that you've dropped tonight, man. It is absolutely appreciated. And ladies and gents, the new broadcaster for the new Shake and Bake Racing League, Vols, welcome to the stream live from South Korea. Buddy, how are you?
And I'm doing fantastic. Been paying attention to some also races. Contact happens between the 1 and the 22 right here, coming in turn number 3. 22 goes up the track. 1 goes out to the outside. 17 dips to the apron. Now he's getting a challenge from the 17. Man, you called on me right as there was amazing action that happened. So, yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Figured, hey, you can't do an all-star race. I mean, I've been begging for all 3 of us to get together and do something fun. And, hey, stage 3 starting. Let's get the 3 guys here.
Yeah, absolutely. 17 of the Aviator right now sitting in P number 5. He's got a train of horsepower, proven horsepower, right in front of him. We'll have to see, who's going to be able to make the moves. The 6 out there now. You got the 4 here. You got the 7 of J-Pos sitting in P3. You got the 22. You got the 1. Some very, very strong cars that have been up front all night long, Balls. And even though we're only a lap or 2 in, they have absolutely separated themselves from the rest of the pack with that Hornet's Nest a little bit further back.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Your top 3 hasn't really changed all night long, and you and Rick have hit great points along the lines of you have the Cup guys dominating this race. The guys that's a little bit further in the back, your Truck and Xfinity guys, they've got to make some headway. They've got to do something. If we could actually get a green flag stop in, do something alternative. Who cares? There's no points on the line tonight. It's nothing but bragging rights and I think a prize at the end. You can come out here and beat these Cup guys. I mean, you got Aviator and Rose, and these guys are here to win. And I hope they get something going big here, but I believe the caution's out.
No, so far it looks like they are still green. 73 laps remaining. One of CGMX Rose, actually, if it is a caution, it looks like it's going to be, looks like it's going to be a manual caution. So they're going to have a little bit more time to kind of ponder what they're going to do, Rick, whether they come on down pit road and just splash it, maybe some right side tires, try to gain any little advantage that they can. Rick, like what Vols was just saying, this could be the chance where one of the Xfinity or the Cup guys that are a little bit further in the back, they're the ones driving the blue and the red cars. Might be their chance to gain a few spots.
Well, Pete, there's going to be no more than about 21 laps that these drivers can run on a tank of gas, let alone their set of tires. So they're going to need to be careful about when they pit. This is going to be one of possibly 3 more pit stops before the end if it goes green to that distance. There's going to be 72 laps to go this time by 72 laps to go. So that tells you that on a 20-lap strategy, it's at least 3 more pit stops to the checkered flag.
Balls, tell you what, NNR Coey's been out here all night long watching these guys. I'm sure keeping up with the Discords, making sure that everybody's been keeping it peaceful. And so far, no real issues on track. And Coey's just kind of pacing the field. He's not racing tonight. He just wanted to make sure that the field had the best opportunity to be completed without any real lag issues. If he was to go in there and start up the race, start qualifying, and then back out, well, then the race gets handed over to somebody that may not have the best internet connection. Maybe somebody that couldn't handle 30 cars on their connection. So Coey, even though he's not out here, juggling for position with the best of them, he's still playing a very, very important role, and we all got to be very, very thankful for Coey, not only for doing that, but also to put together such a great showing and really making sure this thing was able to go off without a hitch. So, Coey, thank you very much.
He's got the best seat in the house, Pete. He's got the start-finish line. He's parked down over there where Victory Lane would be, where they're doing their burnouts. He's going to see quite possibly one of the best finishes in NNR history, just being at that start-finish line. So, I don't feel bad for him out there pacing this field and managing what he's doing, because he could possibly see a photo finish that we might not even know who wins this race.
That's right. He's got the 1 of CGMX Rose behind him. There's the 22 of Lucky Dog, and it looks like they're actually gonna. This is pretty cool. They're actually gonna stay right behind the 15 of Coey and kind of let him lead a lap or 2. He's got 2 very, very fast hot rods right in his rear view. But what a way for the rest of these guys to salute, not just say, hey, Coey, we were going to go back green right there, pull on over. No, they're going to let him pace a couple laps, lead a few laps, and I don't know if this was like a spur of the moment thing, but it's actually pretty cool for Coey to be out here. He does more than lead these guys. He's a hell of a guy as well.
You mentioned earlier that Coey says take care of each other when talking to his drivers, and that should say everything about the kind of character that he has and how much he cares for the competition. So the fact that we can organize this, we can all come together and enjoy this as race fans, as drivers, I think we owe just a little bit of gratitude, to say the least, to Coey, and I think this is his time to shine right here. So this is a tip of the hat to NNR Coey for leading NNR bravely through tumultuous times with COVID and with a lot of drivers missing. So what a great competition, and I can't wait to see how the rest of this plays out.
Well, we're about to find out, Rick. We're about to stack them and rack them and let them loose one more time. One of CJ Maxrose, 22 to the outside. No surprise right there. The 4 car, the 17 of the Aviator, the 7 of J-Pop. That's going to be your top 5. 6 down low. Going back through turns 1 and 2, Vols. Everybody getting up, getting through the gears, holding their line, doing their job. And we've seen some great restarts. This is not going to disappoint by any shape of imagination. But again, these Cup guys, huge lead on the back half of this field. And caution's out.
Absolutely, and caution back out. Yeah, I was about to say they started slowing down right when it was 2x2 for the lead and single file behind them. But we keep touching about how good Coey is with this. He went through his struggle in his time, and he's still never disattached from how amazing the NNR community and family is. And having a couple conversations with him, it's pretty cool, and getting to step up and help you when you weren't feeling good. And I stepped in Tuesday with Rick, and it was nice. I checked my Discord, and I had a message from Coey that said, dude, thank you so much for coming in and doing this. But he's such an awesome guy. I'm so happy to be a part of NNR as we're going green, hopefully, for the remainder of this race.
Yeah, first time Rick James, 7 of J-Pa is going to be the control car. So I don't think anybody pit right there. It was just way too early. 10 to the outside, 8 in P number 3, and now the 20 in P number 4. So we've got some new players, except for that 7 up at the front. Can they hold the 22 back? Can they hold the 1 back there? I have to see if it's their time. Stage number 3, some new players at the front. Could there be a new sheriff in town?
It's going to be 66 laps to go the next time by, Pete, and we'll see who wants to take the reins and lead this sleigh ride down into turn number 4. The one of CGMX Rose on the outside of that 10 car, sitting in the 2nd position. Rowdy in the 6th trying to catch up. Lucky Dog 385 trapped behind a couple of cars there. And take note, that blue number 9 on the outside, AZ Yotes King, one of the truckers up there, and a few truckers now joining the top 10. What a flip to this one, Pete.
Absolutely, Vols. All night long, it has been a whitewash up front. I mean, it seemed like 10 cars, and the truckers and the Xfinity drivers really could not do anything. It seemed like even though they're all running the same equipment, the guys up front were just able to grab that extra gear at the start. They've been mostly, game restarts. That was the first manual start that we've seen all night long. So there's no difference. It's just the way that they've been able to really get up and get through could be a little bit of a difference in their equipment. There are more Cup drivers out here with the shifters and the wheels and all that. So obviously able to bang through those gears just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. But here comes Shadowlack. He's jumped up to P number 5. This is pretty cool to see. So you're right, the shifter and the wheel and stuff, but maybe these guys are just holding a little bit back. Who knows? Now Shadowlack's going for P number 2, side by side with the draft up to 22 right here, below the 7 for P2 as they cross the line. New second place guy, Shadowlack in the number 2 Toyota. Welcome to the fray, and now he's going for the lead He's about to take the lead from the Cup guys as they go into one.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to have it. We've seen CJMX Rose get down there a few times, and he was able to hold off the 22 of Lucky Dog. Shadowlack not able to complete that, but he's still right there in P number 2. So double deuce of Lucky Dog, the deuce of Shadowlack, and the 1 of CJMX Rose occupying the top 3. We've got a new player in the top 3, somebody that nobody else picked. Up until now, it has been all Cup drivers at the front. This Deuce, he's gonna try to mix it up. Say, hey, I've been in the back long enough. Here's my time to shine. Down low.
62 laps to go the next time they cross the line. Shadowlack in the number 2, losing all that momentum on the low side. Lucky Dog retakes the lead in car 22 with CGMX Rose behind him in the 1, and Shadowlack hanging tough in 3rd, but you look behind and the gap to 4th, Pete, is just a cacophony of race cars that are expecting to break out any moment. As you would say, the hornet's nest in full effect. Shadowlack hanging on, but the 22 and the 1 starting to trail away into their own zip code.
Yeah, those guys just not quite able to get down and get dirty the same way that the 1 and the 22 is. Now the 17 of the Aviator pulling up right in front of the 7 of J-Pa. J-Pa pushed up just a little high, able to keep it off the wall, and they are 3 and 4 wide behind these guys, coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, coming down the backstretch, Intermaster Killer into the top number 7. He's sitting here, I think it's about 8th or 7th or 8th place. He's riding along with all of these Cup guys. He is pushing the fire out of the number 10 right here as they try to get, and now it's 3 wide back here, entering into the top 10. It's all 3 truck guys trying to get through and work together to get around these Cup guys as they complete another lap. I believe 60 to go.
Yep, exactly. 60 or 61 laps remaining. Top 3 continuing to do their thing. Everybody behind them getting really, really hungry. Excuse me. Getting a little impatient as well. They figure if Shad can get up there and hang with these guys, so can they. But first, they got to work their way up there. Shad's starting to lose a little bit more ground, Rick James. You mentioned it just a minute ago. It's not going to be long before this longer train of cars has a little bit of a draft off of Shad's Camry and able to pull them up. Rowdy a little loose, coming down across the start stripe. Now 59 laps remaining.
Pete, let's not forget these drivers are going to have at least 2 more pit stops to complete before this one's over. 59 at the line, 22 leads the 1, and the 2 of Shadowlack still hanging tough. Pete, this is uncanny, the way that these top 3 have just broken away from the rest of the pack. Right now, sitting in 4th, leading the rest of these hard-charging warriors behind him. It's the 17 of Aviator who's trying to break away. He's got the 6 of Rowdy to his inside.
Yeah, Rowdy has been trying to make some noise all night long. 17 of the Aviator is going to fall in right behind him. Here comes the 8 car, one of our Xfinity drivers, up to the back bumper of the 17. Gave him just a little bit of a love tap. That pushed the 7 of J-Pa up high just a little bit. And there's the 10 of Dan the Lawn Man as well. He's making his presence known at the front of this this pack that's just a little bit further back.
Yes, Shadowlack's coming back up to the pack in front of him. The 2 cars that have passed him of the 1 and the 22, he has caught back to the back bumper of those using a little bit of the draft. They've broken away from this bigger pack. They're starting to creep in ever so slightly. So now we're seeing the giant hornet's nest of the Cup, Xfinity, and truck guys are making their way up back to the lead. All the cars seem even, or maybe it's just the draft, but it doesn't matter because if you're tuned in right now, you might as well stay to the end because this race is going to get wild as they come down in the closing laps.
That's right, Rick James. We talked about it earlier. No points, only pride on the line. It's not everybody that can say that they are an all-star champion. You can win any race on any given Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday night, but you can only win the all-star race once, and it's when the best of the 3 series all duke it out together. So far, 2 Cup regulars and 1 trucker in the top 3, just continuing to draft and pull away by just a little bit, but there is a hungry batch of cars right in the middle between them and the 4 or 5 cars a little bit further back.
56 laps to go. The next time they cross the line, the Aviator now behind that 6 of Rowdy, and these two choosing to work together, hoping to catch up to the top 3. You look at that top 2 and you see that Lucky Dog and the 1 of Rose, they're in a tandem draft to pull away for the rest of for the rest of this stage. The race, it looks like the 2 of Shadowlack having trouble hanging on, but now the Aviator getting a big push from the 8, and it's a single file train of race cars trying to hunt down these leaders.
Yeah, Vols, I tell you what, the Rowdy with the 17 of the Aviator right in front of him, they really got to try to keep those cars together. I think we just saw right there, Aviator getting a whopping push, getting into the corner, and it made him check up just a little bit too much. And of course that stalled out the momentum that the 6 was getting from the 17. These guys are doing everything that they possibly can, but not all their cars are going to handle the same. They might have similar setups, but when you're talking about the different draft effects that the cars have on each other, whether you're first or fifth, it's going to throw off the, where you get into the corner, where you get back on the throttle, where you're getting, where you're getting back on the gas coming off the corner, as well as a few other different factors. But man, these guys are really trying to get after it and trying to reel in those top 3. We'll have to see if they catch Shad's draft before long. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. As you talked about the kind of the dirty air factor of this race here at Auto Club, it's kind of like a restrictor plate track, but just on a smaller scale. And you have to keep these Xfinity cars wound up. So you saw that the Shadowlack was on the bottom trying to make a pass for the lead, but he couldn't do it because the 2 cars up top were able to keep him wound, and they were able to stay in the throttle longer. These guys back here that's in a train, they have to pray that they can stay in a line and they can push their way up to the front. The faster you can get, the faster you can get down the back straightaway, the easier it's going to be to roll through the corner, especially for these guys. If they can stay there, they'll catch up to Shad's draft maybe in about 10 laps, or if he makes a mistake, and then we might have a better race because they're going to catch up to them, and we might have seem like a 20-car blanket before it's all said and done.
Yeah, 20 cars under a blanket, absolutely. The phrase can easily be used to cover the field here tonight, Rick. These guys have been all over each other for most of the night, and now it looks like CJ Max Rose and Lucky have flat left. Shadowlack and NNR Rowdy with the 17 and other company trying to catch up to them, and it looks like they are starting to make a little bit of headway. So what Vols just said about maybe 10, catch them up with about 10 laps, that might become a reality.
Pete, the pit stops will come sooner than that. These drivers have no more than 5 laps of fuel remaining in these race cars. A couple of cars almost coming together and tangling, trying to come down pit road. Some of the truckers and Xfinity drivers making contact with each other. It's going to be 51 laps to go next time they cross the line. 22 still leading the one with Shadowlack in tow, but look at the gap behind. Just nobody in competition, so the drivers will have to close the gap with the pit road delta. And as always, Pete, a speeding penalty will be it.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught speeding. We've seen some people dive in and really made you wonder whether they were able to woe it up in time. And each time we questioned it, they looked like they were good to go. I don't know if any black flags have been issued tonight, but man, these guys have done one hell of a job all night long. Expert Racing, thank you very much for trying to put my Twitch channel out there. Yeah, it doesn't allow links unless you are a mod, but buddy, I definitely appreciate you, sir.
Down this backstretch now, still ahead is the 22 of Lucky Dog, but pit stops now coming within these next few laps. Vols, I'm looking ahead here to the 22 of Rose, who's the 22 of Lucky Dog, who's just ahead of Rose. With these two working hard to draft away from the rest of the field, do you expect the same sort of drafting after pit road with less than 50 to go?
Yeah, if they're still attached to one another, I have no doubt in my mind. You have the 2 fastest guys of the race. They've been the fast guys when they are in the field in any league that they come to or they race in. They are up front. They're battling for wins. So these two working together, if they can stay together after the pit stops, there's no reason that they should break it apart because they've separated it. But you know, for the people in the chat, we're sitting here watching some of the best racers of all time on Xbox. Like, these guys are phenomenal drivers, and they're super excellent with NNR. But I'm over here sitting here with my mic muted because I'm dumbfounded, because I get to call a race with Repeat and Rick James, and I'm starstruck myself because I'm with the All-Star cast booth. So I feel bad for the people in the chat that they don't get to sit here and do what I'm doing.
We're just lucky enough to be together. Sorry, Pete, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, I tell you what, before this, the 1, the 22, and the 2 of Shadowlack came on down pit road, Shad was, excuse me, absolutely starting to close back up on those two, even though they were tandem drafting. So the 2 seems like he's got a pretty good long run car, and if he can get in here and not lose too much time to those guys, he caught them. Even though they had pretty much started to leave him, he ran them back down, and there's more and more cars coming on down pit road. I think Shad might have something for the winners a little bit later on. He seems to come in at the end of a run just before they come on back down pit road.
Absolutely, Balls. Shadowlack is hanging tough. You see Rose is down and away, and he beats the 22 off pit road. So I don't know if Lucky Dog came in or he possibly had a little bit of damage on that race car. But now the order has been flipped. Falls. It's 1 leading the 22. Shadowlack still in tow, and it looks like they're going to leave pit road with a great lead. I don't know if this one took tires or not, but this is the second time today that Rose has leapfrogged the competition out of pit road. He knows something that the rest of his competition does not.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched, he did it earlier in the race. He jumped to the front, but this is key. So now the 22 has about probably about 4 car lengths between him and this one. So the 22 is going to get an excellent run in a draft up to the back bumper of the one. They've left Shadowlack, so unless these two make a bobble, you know, right now, he's kind of just stuck back there in third, and it's an opportunity for the guys fourth on back to try to catch up to him as he kind of falls back without the draft. As they have called him, actually. They have started to size this lead down, and now we have a 3-car train, third on back. It's now going to catch up and try to make claim to the lead here.
Indeed it will. Right now, the one of CGMX Rose, who's lost that lead to the 22 just ahead of him. It looks like they're catching up to some lapped traffic as well. One of those blue truck drivers in the Xfinity, it looks like a Ford from here. But now, Pete, they're going to have 46 laps remaining, which tells you that it's going to be 2 more pit stops to the end of this race. I would imagine some of these drivers have to try short pitting or wild strategy to gain an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's it's not only going to be the 2 pits, but some of these guys out here they could be a little bit of a fuel miser. So we'll have to see if they can actually maybe save enough to cut those last 4 laps off, or if they're 4 to 7 laps rather, or if they're going to be able to, or if they're going to have to come on down. And at that point, do you give up the tire and come on and just come on out with the fuel that you need, or do you just grab right sides and just enough fuel, or do you just say, you know what, throw it all in the wind, grab 4, you need to be fast, who knows what kind of time they'll have to make up. There's a few different scenarios that they're going to have to play out in their head in order to be there at the end, but somebody's going to have to try to figure out something in order to get by the 22, the 1, and now maybe even the 2 with Shadowlack.
100% falls that one of CGMX Rose out in front of that lead. You can see a few of these race cars have been damaged, in fact, so much so either down pit road or racing each other. The laps are ticking down. You've got 2 more pit stops, Falls, so put yourself in that driver's seat. In about 10th, what moves are you going to make to be there at the end?
Man, if I'm sitting back in 10th place right now, one, I'm praying for a caution. I'm praying for anything possible to happen. Another move that I'm going to try to make is I'm going to try to stretch it just a little bit further. Have the freshest tires at the latest time possible. I don't know exactly when the leaders started to come down and cycle down pit road, if they were gaming the math in their head. But I'm going to run the car all the way to the end. I'm going to run it as hard as possible and then get it empty and then come pit. So that way maybe you could have 3-lap pressure tires and you can run faster lap times than the guys in front of you and try to put yourself in a position that you're not in now. But you have to think of something different. You have to have somebody push you, and you can't lose the draft. You know, the top 2 are pulling away. Cadillac's starting to catch them just a little bit. As you can see them down the front straightaway get the draft. But the top 3 kind of have this race in control. Somebody's going to have to step out and do something different, whether that's pit strategy or a caution coming out. Man, it's going to be tough to see.
Rick, it looks like the 6 of the 6 I think is Boehner and the 17 of the Aviator have caught back up to the 2 of Cadillac. Shad must have had some kind of a problem and fell back into the clutches of these guys. So now the 22 and the 1 are all out there on by themselves. But Shad has a little bit more help now.
Shad's got more help indeed, Pete. It's going to take a special performance to take anything away from that 2 car, because he has been brilliant where no one has expected him to even shine at all. But another lap ticks down. The 1 of Rose continues to lead this race with 41 laps remaining, and right behind him is the persistent bump draft from the 22 of Lucky Dog. They have to be working together. There can't be any other explanation for this marvelous lead that they're getting. So unless a caution comes out, these 2 are predicted, anything's possible, but these 2 are predicted to be there at the end to win.
Yeah, well, these guys have been the class of the field since the initial green drop. So whether it's been under a caution or stage break or whatever, they've been able to get their cars right. Looks like we've got some contact and a couple of cars around. I don't know if the caution's going to come out. As of right now, it looks like they are staying green, and judging by Cowboys stream, it looks like we're gonna stay at it. As so far, it doesn't look like a manual caution has been called just yet.
No caution just yet. I look above, right in front of Cadillac, and I'm not too sure if Shad's still sitting at P number 3. Yotes King actually is running in that spot. If I have an accurate count of the cars there, I don't know if he's went a lap down or not, but enter Yotes King in there. So now if it's true, if anybody in the chat can tell me that, we have 2 Xfinity guys, or 2 truck guys, pardon me, sitting in the top 5. The Cup monotony is being broken.
I think I'd like to think that Yotes is still on the lead lap, but being that the 2 was the closest to the leader's bumpers earlier, I think Yotes has actually just fallen a lap down, and Cadillac is now back there with the 6 and the 17. So it's still a battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, just a bit further behind Yotes as they came across the line that time. I think that said 39 laps remaining in the 2020 All-Star race right here from Auto Club. Definitely want to thank everybody for coming out, hanging out, chatting it up, keeping us company. It's been one hell of a race so far, whether you've been here since the initial open race or if you've been here the entire time so far. You're not going to want to miss the closing laps. Can Lucky get it done? Will Rose get it done? What will they do to each other in order to get it done? If they should happen to take each other out, who's going to benefit from their aggression? We'll just have to wait and see. But there's still, 80 laps, give or take, to go, Rick.
36 laps to go next time they cross the line. The 1 of CGMX Rose. Well ahead, the 1 of CGMX Rose in front of that 22 car, and they're just tearing this up, and it's uncanny back through the rest of the field. You mentioned drivers like Boehner, Cadillac, that 12 car again now trying to make their way back through this field. It looks like the 6 of Rowdy has retired for the evening. Not good for him. The 5 of Tenacious down pit road, possibly trying a different strategy. NNR Drake in that 12 car behind the 2 of Cadillac. And most of these drivers looks like they might be short pitting. Pete, a couple of guys have come down pit road already.
Yeah, and I also see the 17 of the Aviator now parked on pit road. That car has not moved an inch, and very, very unfortunate. That Mustang's been fast all night long. Something must have come up, or virtual blown motor. Either way, very, very unfortunate for the Aviator. He won last year. Looks like he's not going to be able to repeat, and there are a couple of other Cup cars sitting on pit road as well. So right now, the one of CJ Rose and the 22 of Lucky Dog sitting 1 and 2, sitting nose to tail. There is nobody behind these guys, Rick.
Nobody at all, and the laps continue to wind down. Less than 35 remaining, so with less than 70 miles to go in this race, really, you're looking for drivers to get nose to tail and draft their way to the front. J-Paw in this number 7 car, now catching up with help from one of those red Xfinity drivers in that Toyota Supra, trying to make this larger pack here at the back of the field. Then you have drivers 12th, 13th, 14th, just no draft help whatsoever, so they're left to the mercy of the pit road delta. Now green flag pit stops well and truly underway now that we're inside of the final 40 laps. It'll be 33 to go next time by, which still indicates it's a 2-stop race from here, Pete.
Yeah, right now it looks like Cowboy, his stream is showing about 5 laps left in the tank. Not quite sure if he's been able to save a little bit, but he's also sitting back there in P13. So if he has been able to save some, and he can go an extra couple of laps past the 1 or the 22, that could be the shakeup that we've talked about or alluded to a couple of different times. Rick, there's still a few different ways that this could play out. Just because those guys have a huge lead on the rest of the field, there, as you see, the 7 of J-Pod ducking down below the white line, indicating that he's going to be coming in this time, which means he's going to come out with some of the freshest tires, and also shows that what Cowboy's showing me with 4 now laps left in the tank, he is saving if J-Pod's having to pit now.
Absolutely, and it's going to take a special effort to do anything, but now here come the drivers down pit road, and they themselves need to watch out that they don't speed down pit road. Vols, coming out of this 4th corner, what can drivers do to assure they won't get caught speeding?
Well, I can't really pick one here because I speed every time I come down pit road at Auto Club. This is the worst pit road to enter with a shifter. So for these guys who have a shifter or a wheel, this in Michigan has been not too worse. I don't know how to get it down there. But I mean, if you get on the apron just a little bit more or earlier before you get off of turn number 4 and kind of woe it up. But these guys are getting aggressive, Rick. They're going to get more and more aggressive as the laps wind down. And when that final pit stop really happens, I think that's when the most mistakes are going to happen on pit road, because people are inching and wanting to give more and more and more to be the 2020 All-Star champion. So if the give's not going to happen no more on pit road, the 1 and the 22 are just going to be, they're good. They're going to be here. They're going to stop. They're going to get on pit road easily. But the guys further on back, they're going to be pushing every envelope to get to this lead and try to win this race.
Pete, it sounds pretty straightforward for these top 2. Just don't speed down pit road. But as anything is straightforward and simple in racing, it can all go pear-shaped in the blink of an eye. Right now, we have almost a full conveyor belt of race cars circulating around this racetrack under these pit stops. Drivers like TGM Beast now crossing the line with 30 laps to go must come down this time by or risk running out of fuel. So this could be the very end of green flag pit stops that we're seeing here, Pete. Only a caution can make this a 1-stop race from here.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if y'all just witnessed the one come down pit road. He was slideways getting to the pit line. He was completely hard on the brake, and he could not control the rear end. We'll have to see if the 22 makes up a whole bunch of time, or if the 1 just got a black flag. Well, we're going to kind of keep it right here with the 1 of CJMX Rose. If he's there more than 15 seconds, well, that just handed a whole bunch of goodies to the 22. One's still right there. You see the 17 of the Aviator right in front of him. Aviator obviously out of the race. Here comes there goes the 22. So yeah, Rose got caught speeding on pit road. There it is.
And that's what I talk about. That's what I said about this track in particular, along with Michigan. When you get on the brakes, and I know that Rose has the shifter and the wheel. When you get on the brake here and you start to shift the car down, the rear end likes to kick. The rear end's going to keep kicking, and then when you hit the brake, you're flying. You're pushing it. You're going as fast as possible, and then you try to whoa it down. The car doesn't like that. The wheel doesn't like that, and neither does your shifter. So he got nabbed, and now the race is basically handed without a caution or some pit strategy to the 22.
Yeah, Rick James, that's a huge game changer for the one. Now he's back here racing in the clutches of the 2 with Cadillac that we were talking about earlier, the 12 and a couple of other Xfinity drivers right behind him. There's no way, unless now the 22 has some kind of an issue, that the one is going to be able to catch him. He's got some help to maybe try to push, but can these cars actually keep up with Rose? That'll be yet to be seen.
27 laps to go. Next time they cross the line, keeping up with Rose, keeping up with the 22 of Lucky Dog is going to be quite the task. But it's doable. He's beatable. We just have to see who has the strategy to do it. One of the things that could be more dangerous is just being by yourself, not having that competition to keep you sharp, Pete, because a driver could easily lose focus, and this final pit stop, when you don't have another driver to regulate your habits, could be the deadly one.
Yeah, there's so much that can play out in or against. There's a whole lot that can play out in or against your favor when it comes down to crunch time. You know the people that you've got around you. You know whether they've been on your back the entire time. That could have been easily what pushed CGMX Rose to break the boundaries of the commitment cone coming down the pits. There's a lot of head games in what these guys deal with every single week. But tonight, among them all, the All-Star race, the biggest bragging rights of the season.
100%. Now there's 26 laps to go in this race. 25 at the line. Lucky Dog now crosses. A quarter left, Vols. So do you bring the car down pit road with 19 laps to go, or do you stretch this as far as you possibly can?
If I'm the 22 right now, you have an incredible lead. I'm going all the way out. I'm going as far as I possibly can, because whatever time they gain on you, with them coming down pit road, you are going to basically double it when you come off. You've been one of the fastest guys all race. If I'm him, I'm pushing it as far as possible. If I'm the guy second on back, I'm hitting the moment I can, and now I'm trying to chase him down and pray for a caution to try to leapfrog him by maybe a lap or two.
Pete, the laps are now taking down with less than 25 laps remaining. The 22 of Lucky Dog, you can see he's taking a bit of a slower line around the inside of turn 1 and 2. Had a bit of a wiggle, so you can see the tires, even though they're just barely out of pit road, starting to catch a little bit of wear, or he could be pushing it a bit harder than he should. Lucky Dog, easily one of the fastest drivers we've seen out here, Pete. However, everybody's human.
Yeah, there's nobody anywhere near this 22. I mean, you watch him come across the start stripe all the way down past the 15 of Coe that's been sitting there. And Rick, there isn't a soul on the front stretch with this 22. That I think that wiggle out of the corners might just be him kind of maybe breathing the throttle just a little bit more. Hasn't really had the opportunity to really get through the corners without the pressure of somebody there right on his back bumper or underneath him or to the outside of him all night long. Now Lucky's just, I mean, it's clear sailing. It seems like the entire rest of the field is on the opposite side of the track now. And
that just speaks to the level of speed that he's been pulling out lap by lap. This isn't something that was born overnight. This is something that was cultivated through learning how the car handles in stage 1, through tweaking and being able to race with and maintain a different set of drivers in the front in stage number 2. This here is far and away more than impressive, but I think it's just one of those drives that just solidifies how impressive it is that Lucky Dog can get into different disciplines of racing and continue to put in legendary performances like he does.
Yeah, and he when he ran in Pro League Season 1, a lot of people didn't give him a lot of credit for what he was able to do on the track. In Pro League Season 2, he won the championship. Him and Track Bar definitely got together, and there was a whole lot to do about that. But the man is fast week in, week out, whether it's on a short track, whether it's on a road course, whether it's a super speedway, or what have you. Lucky Dog is absolutely able to get the task done that he sets his sight on. And believe it or not, when he doesn't win, he kind of reminds me of Chase Elliott. He's very, very hard on himself. When he didn't win the Cup race the other night, he was actually hard on himself. He was almost physically upset. So the man, he's got some great Fanatec equipment from the Pro League. He knows how to use it. He knows what he's capable of. And this is a showing of yet again that, man, you put the best of the best in a level playing field, and the cream will always rise to the top.
One way or the other, it always does, and that's just one of the most impressive things that you could ask about this. And you see that 22 just using all of this racetrack, and that right there, the way he just comes down to the inside, shoots back up to the outside, that is just a skill that you can learn, but it takes laps and laps of practice to master. Then we have drivers like the number 4 of Boehner, who's just ahead of a little bit of competition himself. The 1 of CGMX Rose, who's well behind Boehner and trying to race for pride just in these closing laps. That's important to these drivers as well.
Yeah, Vols, these guys, they realize that the laps are closing. Every single one of these positions is a position that you've gained or you've earned in this All-Star race. Again, you've got the top truckers, top Xfinity, and top Cup out here. This is about as stacked as you can get to a lobby. So the fact that Lucky's able to get up there and do what he's done, of course, the CGMX Rose did make an error, but man, it's whether it's for first place or 10th place or 20th place, nobody's going to concede a spot. Everybody wants their best possible finish. Say, you know what, I did that.
Oh, absolutely. You guys said it best. The cream rises to the top, and when you step into an NNR race, you get the feel and the excitement that, okay, like I'm where the big boys play. I'm here. This is where people come to showcase how good they are. And you have 30 of the best. You have the top 10 from all 3 series that was here. And it goes to show that when you put them all together, the Cup guys are the Cup guys for a reason. And then you've got some truckers that are up there and they're knocking on that door going, I can compete with you guys. I'm here. You have some Xfinity guys that are doing the exact same thing. And I'm marveled at what happened with the pit road incident. But for Lucky Dog to continue what he's doing, he's been very successful in the Pro League. He's been very successful racing over in East Park and racing in XXRL and all the other places that he races. He is truly one of the best guys, and he's a humble guy as well. Yeah. So it's good to see him up here running up front, and I'm almost certain at the end he's going to be just heartbroken that the one had an issue on pit road.
Yeah, CGMX Rose. When it came to post-race interviews last season, Rick, Rose was very, very hard on himself as well. I mean, sometimes he'd enter the booth and he cussing like a sailor. And he learned after being drafted by Chip Ganassi Motorsports that he had to kind of tone it down just a little bit, and he started to be a little bit more constructive with his interviews, stop beating up on himself so much, and he has gotten a whole lot better. Again, Rose didn't win 6 races last year. I'm pretty sure Boehner actually had. I'm sorry, not Boehner. Amore Smoke had the most last season. I think he had like 10. But CJMX Rose has absolutely poured it on this year, whether it's because of his pro league affiliation or whether it's the great equipment that he's got or whatever the case may be. Even though he had a miscue on pit road, he should not go back and really take anything away from himself for wherever he might finish tonight.
Pete, he's about to make the move into second place. He's right now just overtaken Boehner on the outside of the backstretch into turn number 3 and cleared him almost effortlessly. The gap up to first place is 13.5 seconds as Lucky Dog crosses the line. He leads Rose, Boehner right behind him, Unforgotten Shadow in 4th, NNR Cowboy rounding out that top 5. It's now going to be 13 laps to go, leading to a dozen at the line.
Yeah, really, Vols. Let's hear it for those truckers and the Xfinity guys that are mixing it up with a couple of the best. Boehner was very much in contention for a Cup Series championship last year with Amore Smoke, CJMX Rose, and Aviator. So, Aviator eventually ended up winning his second championship. So for Unforgotten Shadow to be up here mixing it up with these guys, that also says a lot about him as well. He hasn't given up all night long, whether he's gotten up here just through raw speed or whatever the case may be. Unforgotten Shadow is inside the top 5, right along with Cowboy. Cowboy's no slouch either. He's very, very fast in the PSES series over on iRacing and a lot of other venues as well. So Unforgotten Shadow and Cowboy, it's no surprise that they are here as well. And it looks like, do we have a manual caution out here? Looks like Coey is collecting the field. Whoa! 12 laps remaining, so we're going to bring it to 10 to go.
I went on board with Coey, and I seen him start to move, and I said, is he just cutting out a lap? Like, what is going on? And I switched to our leader, and I hear the motor stop. I don't know what happened, but, oh, man, if you're in that stream right now and you're watching, hit that share button. This is about to get insane, people. Share it on Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you follow Repeat. Follow Rick James. This is what it comes down to.
You know what? I'm actually, Rick, I'm half tempted to go back and take a look at the design of tonight's race and see if this caution at lap 12 to go was going to be. To where they came in, they were all going to have a chance to come on down, grab 4 brand new Eagle field goals, fill it up with whatever they may need to go the distance without keeping getting that car too heavy, and then come on back out. So I don't know if this caution was planned and staged, or if something actually happened somewhere on the track that we missed. But it seems a little. I think this was pre-planned.
Well, there's no more plans now, Pete. It's going to be certainly less than 15 to go, probably somewhere around 12 or 13 laps to go. I've absolutely lost all sort of track here of when, but I know it's going to be a thrilling finish to this end, and Rose has a shot at redemption, Pete. This is something that you just can't script. Where Rose had made a mistake before, he now has been handed a mulligan, and where the lead was effectively going to be Lucky Dog's all the way to the end is now no longer a certainty. Now it's an uncertainty, if you will. It looks like we're going to have 9 laps to go on the restart.
All right, so Commando Griff out there wondering what's the top 3 going to be like. Well, Griff, I tell you what, right now it looks like NNR Cowboy stayed out, so he's going to be P1 unless he's going to come on in. We'll have to see. Lucky Dog in that double deuce, he's in P2, and CJMX Rose rounds out your top 3. Boehner in 4th, and Unforgotten Shadow in P number 5. So we're going to go ahead and work our way on up to Cowboy and see exactly what this guy has on his mind. Yeah, he's slow on the backstretch. Let's see if we can't maybe grab a word with this driver. Let's see. Stand by. Cowboy, it's repeat. Rick James and TN Balls in the booth. You got us, buddy.
Yeah.
Man, you've got everybody out here curious what you've got up your sleeve. Obviously you were in the top 5 just before that caution came out. Did you pit recently and you feel pretty good about what you've got under you, that you're going to try to make this happen? Or are you just throwing, as Rick James would say, anything at the wall to see what sticks?
Just seeing what sticks.
Just going to see what sticks, huh? Well, you got Coey right in your front. You got the 22 underneath you. There's the 1 of CGMX Rose. I believe that's going to be the 7 of J-Pa, also to your inside. Anybody that has a lap down is now going to have a chance to come on down pit road and do whatever they've got to do. Buddy, we absolutely wish you luck.
Thank you, sir.
Get it done. All right, guys. So just straight from the horse's mouth, we're going to let him go on back to the. I put him back in the wrong spot here. Hold on. He's got to go back to All-Star Main Event. Never mind. He fixed it himself. Never mind. Okay, cool. So we were able to catch a quick word with Cowboy. He's Rick, he's kind of throwing the Hail Mary here.
You don't have any other option, Pete. We mentioned at the top of the show, it's the All-Star race, and that is literally your only reason to be. It's everything or nothing, and when you throw everything at the wall to see what sticks, you'll take what sticks. So now it's time to throw it up on the wall. The next 9 or so-ish laps, we're about to see what sticks.
Yeah, kind of curious. He dropped back. He gave up P number 1. Coey's got the 122 Unforgotten Shadow, and I think that's J-Pa right in there with him as well. No, it's actually going to be the 4, and then the 8 of Unforgotten Shadow with the 10 of, I believe that's going to, no, it's not Dan Law, man. That's going to be a separate 10. But here we go, like expert of racing saying, pull those belts tight one more time. Here we go, Rick James back under green, under 10 to go, Auto Club.
8 laps to go as the cars accelerate back up to speed. CGMX Rose in the 1 on the outside of the 22 of Lucky Dog. Rose looking to tuck in now to the inside, but Boehner in the 4 right behind him. Boehner gives him the room. Now you see those blue cars indicating those are truck drivers sitting in this top 5 in that 1 red Xfinity car. Now CGMX Rose forcing his way to the outside, getting the high line. Will he be able to clear the 22 out of 4? Pete, it's a drag race for first.
Yeah, drag race for first, and it's been the same old players at the top, except for the occasional, person that's been able to pull their way on up. But the 22, the 4, Boehner, he's right where he needs to be when it really counts. Unforgotten Shadow right now sitting in P number 4. He's got the 10 and the 5, a couple of truck drivers right behind him. You see the 7 of J-Pa out on the outside. How quick is Lee going to be able to throw that throttle down and work his way on up? Pulls to the outside of Unforgotten Shadow. Shadow's down low. Nobody else going to go with that 7 up high. Now your first through fourth, all Cup drivers.
Yep, first through 4 still Cup drivers battle for the lead. It's still hot and heavy with Boehner sitting there in 3rd, licking his chops, hoping for some contact so he can go as he gets a little when they come down side track. And here comes Boehner, 3 wide down the front straightaway for the lead and for the All-Star race.
6 laps to go into turn number 1. Boehner taking the lead on the inside of car 22, but he gives the slide job to the 22. Rose recognizes the move and he sees it coming. Gets to the crossover before the 22 is stopped, and he keeps the momentum out of turn number 2. And now he's moving faster than the outside line going into turn number 3. Boehner to the outside, Rose to the inside. That car is J-Pa with the yellow number 7 on the roof, and the 22 of Lucky Dog 385 now on the outside line. Should be right around 5 laps to go when they cross this line, Pete. Lucky Dog Now in second place behind Rose, Boehner on the outside, J-Paw third in line.
Yeah, CJ Max Rose has seen this play out before. He's had that 22 all over his back bumper for most of stage number 3, but has been able to hold him off. Anytime the 22 tried to the outside, Rose was able to get back in the throttle and hold him off. Here comes a little bit of a charge by the 22, a little bit of a side draft. 1 now to the outside, 22 down low. Boehner behind this group, watching everything that happens. Rose back in the throttle hard, trying to carry that momentum off the top side. 22 is going to keep it down low. It will be a drag race back to the line, Vols.
Yep, side by side down to the line. One car slid up the track a tad bit when he got back into the gas. Coming out of turn number 4, Boehner is sitting there in P number 3 with they have 4 of the cars behind him, 3 from the Truck Series and 1 from the Xfinity. Top 4 is still Cup guys, still side by side for the lead. Boehner is trying everything possible to stay in the draft of the fastest line. Rose is here. He's there. He's on the outside of this 22, and this is his moment and his chance to make the wrong a right. He's sped, and here they come out of turn number 4. Laps are closing down. 22 takes the lead outright.
Yeah, 22 down low, able to get right ahead of the 1, but the 4's got the back bumper of the 1 of CJ Max Rose. Could Boehner actually dictate who becomes the 2020 All-Star Race winner? Who will he have the opportunity to possibly push across the line? Right now, the 22 has the field in view. 1 car, CJ Max Rose, all over the back bumper of the 22. A little bit of a pull. 22 down low, trying to break the draft. Now the 1 to the outside. Boehner now pushing the 1, going into 3 and 4. Rick?
2 laps to go this time at the line. The 1 getting a great run, getting a pull from the 22 out of turn 3. Now Lucky Dog cutting off all that momentum on the inside, but he lists lazily to the right, trying to get ahead of the 1. Now Boehner one more time, making it 3 wide on the inside. 2 laps to go, less than 4 miles remaining at Auto Club. 4 to the inside, 22 in the middle, 1 on the high side, and 1 more coming up the back. But it's the Boehner show at the front. 22 up the inside. Pete, white flag in the air next time by.
Yeah, white flag's going to be out. Boehner's got the preferred spot. Will he have the preferred line? 1 car, CJ Max Rose, all over his back bumper. 22 down low. Boehner came on down and slammed that door shut. 7 car of J-Paw all over there. Then you got the 8 car of Unforgotten Shadow. Boehner coming off 3 and 4, letting it wash way up high. He's still got the 22 right behind him. Can Boehner hold them off for 2 more miles? 2 car, or 22 now, down low. Boehner's going to have that high side momentum if he's going to be able to hold them off, Balls.
22 down to the bottom, 4 slides up the track a tad bit. Here comes the 22. Here comes J-Paw in the 7. 1 car's going to make it 3 wide. They make contact coming off the exit of 4 down the back straightaway for the final time.
Rick James, the final time, long train to coming on that outside. We'll have to see if anybody's going to be able to go to full send and catch that 22. But the looks of it, it looks like the 22 is going to have it. 4 car up in the spot right when he needed. 1 car, CJ Max Rose, is going to come home P number 3. So if anybody out there had the 22 of Lucky Dog, 4 car of Boehner, and the 1 of CJ Max Rose as your top 3, you just won $30 in gift cards if you pick the 22 of Lucky Dog as the overall winner. The one and only MoreThanACape.org has a 10-ounce tumbler for you, and Coey's got something. Coey's going to have something which I'll talk about here in just a moment for old Lucky Dog as well. So, man, great ending to that all. I thought Boehner might have had something, but I guess the tires just went away at the end. All right, we are going to let these guys take their cool down lap. We're going to take a quick little commercial break, and then, guys and gals, we will be right back. If you are out there and still seeing this, thank you very much for subscribing to this channel. All the support is absolutely appreciated. Wouldn't I would still stream for the fun, but I thank you all for coming out and keeping us company. And whether you're subscribing through Prime or spending that hard-earned $5, man, just please know it doesn't go without without appreciation. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna allow these guys to again run their cool down lap. We're gonna bring it on back to our booth. since it was a Cup guy that won, we'll use the Cup post race booth for them. Let's see here. And we will be right back. All right, guys, one more time, thank you very much. Definitely appreciate you sticking it out. And we are here with our top three. And the first to pick up on old CGMX Rose is going to be the one and only TN Vols. Vols, let's see what that one's got to say.
Yeah, let's see what he's got to say. Driver of the one car, Mr. Rose, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. How about you?
Man, I am doing great. I got to call an NNR race with two of the all-time greatest, and especially with one of the greatest leagues in NNR. What was going through your mind when you made the mistake on pit road, and what led to the mistake that dropped you back a little bit?
I was just thinking that it was over unless we got a caution there, but just when we came down pit road and I transitioned from the track to the apron, the car just got really loose on me, and I wasn't able to get it slowed down, so I got a penalty for that.
Yeah. So caution comes out, right? Caution's out, and you have a chance at redemption, and you're running 3 wide with Boehner and Mr. Lucky Dog. Did you think y'all were going to wreck it, or did you think, man, this is cool?
Man, I thought it was pretty cool. I was just hoping that one of those boosts worked out in my favor, which they never did. I was just way too tight. I didn't loosen up the car enough for that short run that we had, so I tried, but just couldn't do it.
Well, man, y'all put on one whale of a show for us. Congratulations on P number 3. Do you got any shout-outs tonight?
Yeah, you guys in the booth, Dan for that crazy racing we had all night long, Coey for running this, and all the rest of the drivers.
All right. Well, in the words of one another pro leaguer, back to you, Pete.
I appreciate it. I'm actually going to toss it over to back to you. No, I'm actually never mind. I forgot. I'm going to pick up on the driver of the 4, the one and only Boehner. Boehner, buddy, welcome to the booth. Top 2 in the All-Star race. You came, I almost want to say, from out of nowhere, and you had a shot. With about 2 laps to go, you had the 1 and you had the 22 behind you, but it looks like you were getting a little tight. But, man, you gave it a little bit more than the old college try. Definitely seemed like you had a piece to contend.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. I mean, first of all, it's just a lot of fun racing with those guys. And it being the All-Star race, I was probably making some crazier moves than, I would otherwise, especially at the beginning, just trying to put on a show and have fun. But don't think there was even too many incidents there. So that's good. But, yeah, just fun racing those guys. Had they, tried to block my runs, I might have tried to block theirs on the last lap. But the fun thing about NNR, and especially racing with those 2 guys, is, they had the field covered. I knew that. I never figured out what to do with my pressures that they had figured out. And so they were quite a bit better than me. But I think I had it figured out over everyone else, because I came from 13th or 14th up to 3rd on my own and through pit stop sequences and stuff, and nobody seemed to be catching me unless they had Rose's draft after a speeding penalty. So I think we had the 3rd best car anyways after Rowdy and Aviator had their problem. So I just wanted a top 3 on that restart. Wanted to, wasn't not going to take my runs there. I knew we'd be fine. Those 2 guys are the best there is. So there's someone I got to be 3 wide with. I'm more worried about myself on the bottom of that situation than those 2 up top. So it was just a lot of fun.
Well, man, we definitely saw you giving the one of CJMX Rose a big old boost going into the corner, and then you decided to turn on down and, as you said, make it 3 wide. But you gotta give you credit for the guts. Congratulations on a great P2 finish. You're among the top for bragging rights until next year's All-Star race. Congratulations, as J-Pod just put in the chat, just one spot away. But I know he's talking about himself being in the booth, but you too, 1 spot away. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Balls. Thanks, Rick James. I don't know if he's in here, but thanks to everyone who does all this. Thanks, Cody, for putting all this on. And fun race, man. Hopefully we can do that tomorrow.
Rick James, we've got one more. The guy that absolutely had a lock on his setup, a lock on the field. If it wasn't for that caution, man, it's who knows if it still would have been the same result. But you got old Lucky Dog.
Lucky Dog 385. You had put this race out of contention up until that final yellow flag flew, but somehow you managed to bring it home in one piece. Congratulations, and how did you do it?
Thank you. Holy cow, man. We're all-star winners in NNR. Let's go. I'm really, really happy with that. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Rose for the great racing all race long. Stages from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. And shout out to Boehner for racing me clean there at the end, and Rowdy and Aviator for all the good hard racing that we had up front. It was a lot of fun. That race, no points on the line, no pressure, just pure racing. It was just really, really fun. I just think when it came to that restart there, I was just relatively calm. I had to pretty much just take control of it and just not worry about it. If a guy was going to get around me, then hey, that's okay. The high draft, I could probably slingshot around a guy potentially, but biggest thing I needed to do was just figure out how to pass guys on the inside, pass guys on the outside, because my entry speed was not great. I was very tight on entry, so I was struggling with that, all race long. But made a really great move there on the last lap around Boehner, and I'll tell you what, my heart was pumping on that backstretch. I was like hoping those guys with the draft weren't going to catch up to me, and man, that was just nuts. I'm super honored to be in victory lane in NNR. This is great. I just want to say once again, thank you to all the guys who came out to race, and say a big shout out to Cody for putting this whole race on. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Got to say thank you, Repeat, and Rick and Voles for doing a commentary tonight. You guys do an awesome job every time you're in that commentator booth. So can't wait to watch back the race. And man, coming from the open to winning here, that's something. I can't believe it. And it's a good redemption from Canadian Tire. I was very, very heartbroken after that race, and this feels like a redemption. So really happy about it. Just got to keep this momentum moving forward and keep it up for the SXRO race I have in about 10 minutes. So just really happy, and hopefully we can get another win tomorrow at the Holiday 60.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Congratulations, Lucky Dog, on that win, and best of luck, my friend.
Thanks, bro. Woo.
Rick James, I think the last time we saw anybody come on through in real NASCAR was when Casey Kane did it at Charlotte Motor Speedway, won the Open, then went on to win it all as well. And if I'm not mistaken, it was in that white and blue Dodge Mopar scheme. So, man, to make you think of somebody as strong as that, to be able to do what Lucky Dog did tonight, that's a pretty good feat accomplished.
An amazing feat to have accomplished that, and driving that 22 car, which is only in NASCAR has only won an all-star race one time, and that Casey Kane win you mentioned dating all the way back to 2008, the last time something like that happened. So an impressive feat indeed. What a night.
Absolutely. Coey, we got you in the booth, buddy. I tell you what, it's pretty phenomenal to watch you pace the field a little bit. All kinds of patience from you to let these guys race it out, to make sure that they were able to race it out under the best possible internet connection. But, Bud, all the planning, all the preparation, all the different questions from the guys, all the way up until the green flag dropped. Way to put on yet another show for all 3 series that call NNR home.
I appreciate it, Pete. Yeah, it's definitely always a lot of work trying to organize everything and getting the cars, come up with a cool scheme, which was partly to you for thinking about doing these IROC cars again, which I think really showed well on the stream. I was watching between you and being in the race, so it was definitely exciting to watch the cars and the different competition between the red and the white and the blue, and seeing them putting on a great show.
Absolutely. We saw you kind of pull out and lead the field around for about a good 2 laps. And we started talking about, what you do, what you've done, NNR as a whole and whatnot. Was that something that the guys behind you said, you know what, Coe, you go ahead and stay out and lead a couple laps? Or was that just, or was it some other situation? It just kind of seemed like everybody lined up behind you and kind of took a backstage to you for a little bit.
No, that was just that last caution, and we were just trying to get it organized because unfortunately it came at a bad time with the guys coming out of the pits, so we're trying to get them to get their wave rounds and get everybody back on track.
All right. Rick James or Vols, man, guys, you another phenomenal race, phenomenal broadcast. I definitely thank you both. Vols all the way from South Korea, huge time difference. I appreciate you for coming out for the latter half, for most of stage 3. Got to introduce you. And Rick James, been with me for all now 3.5 hours of this NNR event here at Auto Club, between the Open and the actual race. Thank you both very, very much.
Yeah, thanks guys for showing up and putting on a great broadcast with Pete.
Well, man, Pete, I absolutely love both of you to death. Y'all have been huge in my life and a source of event. A lot of things have been going on in my life personally and professionally on this level. You guys have made me want to elevate myself to the next level, to be on the same level as you guys. When people say who's the best broadcasters in NASCAR heat and on Xbox and eventually iRacing, for people to say my name and the breath as y'all's too means the world to me. And my mom tunes into both of y'all's streams, and she doesn't just do it because she hears my voice. She does it because she cares about you two and how much y'all mean to everybody here. And Coe, thank you so much for letting me be a part of the NNR family. It's such an honor, and it's a privilege to say that I come in and help out with NNR, and hopefully next year race with these guys. But you guys are amazing.
Absolutely.
And I love watching the stream, and for you guys to allow me to come up here and do stage 3 with y'all. And like I said in the beginning, I'm watching the All-Star race, but I'm in the booth with 2 All-Stars themselves. So, sirs, y'all are
Absolutely
amazing. Thank you.
Glad to have you as well.
Well, Rick, I don't get to say this often, but buddy, back to you.
Pete, what more can I say that hasn't already been said? Week in, week out, we've seen every type of race there is. We've seen every type of photo finish, and as Mike Joy says, the legendary Mike Joy, who raised a generation and continues to do so, his favorite race to call is the next one. And for me, my favorite race to call is the next one. Hopefully, one that we can work on together. But if not, we'll be back together to do more NNR in just a few weeks' time.
Yeah, you absolutely hit that right on the head. Looking at the NNR schedule after the All-Star race, of course, we got next week and the week after off for Christmas and then New Year's. And then we are coming back to Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Cups on that Tuesday night, again, right around 9:30 Eastern. Wednesday night, Xfinity, and then, of course, the Cup guys on Thursday nights, all times Eastern. Gentlemen, again, great privilege to have you around, to call you my friends. Whole lot of memories so far. Looking forward to building a lot more. I absolutely wish everybody out there a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, whatever it is that you particularly take part of. All the best from me and mine to you and yours. We'll catch you in just a couple weeks.
Hey, Pete, hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you get that message? Were you able to put that up or not?
Let's see. Lucky Dog, if you are still
I know,
here,
Lucky
sorry
Dog,
about that.
he left.
Okay, well, Lucky Dog's going to actually go ahead and earn himself an NNR hat, one of the brand new items that actually hasn't even made it to the Zazzle page as of yet. I've seen them. They actually look really nice. I wasn't able to put a picture up and interrupt the stream, but
Okay.
and he also won a tumbler from morethancape.org. So Lucky Dog is going to be contacted in a couple of different ways. Let me see here right quick. Where
I should have blocked.
But
Yeah, these are our special hats. These are like going to be like a limited edition hat that we put out, and going to try to sell some of the other ones. Trying to help for a lucky cause, actually, to help towards some of the issues that went on with my uncle, and I'm going to try to put some of that money towards taking care of some of his some issues and payments that need to be taken care of. So I will be putting something out about them recently or shortly. But I'm going to give the first one off to Lucky Dog as the All-Star winner.
Oh, there you go, Lucky Dog. As he gets ready for his next race, which he said he only had about 10 minutes. He'll be happy to know that that's going to be on his way. Nobody won the $30 in Xbox codes tonight, so we'll find out what JPA wants to, and JPA and Vols wants to do with that. Vols put up $15 and JPA put up $15, so they can decide where they want to go or what they want to do. But again, guys, Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy New Year, and we'll see you. We'll see y'all in 2021. Stay safe. Stay
Merry Christmas,
healthy.
guys.